Okay.
Yes.
I think, I wanted to share. We wanted to stream because I've been feeling incredibly anxious. I think I'm thinking about the past, but I wonder how much is also the current situation. The past stuff is like what's on the surface, but we're realizing the dumpster, for those who are paying attention, that dumpster is like more than 2/3 full with shit.
Oh, yeah.
And we still have so much shit to throw in. It's like never ending, and they're picking up on Saturday. So it's just like overwhelming. And I do this for my parents. We help them. No one's here to help us. Not that I expected much, but they didn't have to totally fuck us over. So it's just like, this is insane. We're going to end up doing everything backwards. It just, so the anxiety, I can't bring that cripples me. So I wanted to talk to somebody. I talked to my shrink today, and it was, maybe I'll share it. It was an interesting ish session, but I don't know. He's not really much help. It's going to be a waste of time. Let's not get on Neat Bucks. He's going to be a waste. So there's not much to say. I'm worried about the shit we got to do here. We got a lot of stuff. And
we have a lot to take care of.
It was really humid today. Now, finally, the weather kind of broke. It didn't rain, but I got a bit overcast. It's a bit smoky. There's some fires. So it cooled down. But it was hot this afternoon. You came home from work. You were tired, and we were bringing in. I was trying to stream earlier, but then I realized you were home and didn't work out. But I thought, let's come back on. Maybe we'll tire you out. We can have a beer or two, calm the nerves.
Exactly, yes.
I might even have. I don't know.
Some of this.
Oh yes, I want to get this.
And you need to peel yourself, don't you?
I'm going to take on propanolol. I didn't see the doctor. There's so much shit to do. I gotta get a job. Oh my god. I'll take one propanolol. Here, I help. I want to take a methylphenidate right now. I need more methylphenidate.
What's propanolol supposed to do?
Ease anxiety. Yeah, it's. And we had talked about one. It's very foamy tonight.
Yeah, I guess it's still kind of warm. It comes out of the refrigerator. It starts to heat up a bit.
I think what happens is, in addition to, like we said, stacking layer upon layer of anxiety. One, like, there's stuff I got to do here paperwork-wise, clerical. But there's also, like, I get my room taken apart. And then this has to be shredded or burned. This has to go in the garbage. Do I keep this? There's shit everywhere. It's like just the room, one task, clerical, another task. But when I go to the room, that turns into like 5 or 6. It's like never-ending. It's like it branches out, How do you feel? I mean, you feel overwhelmed by this?
Yeah. It's a lot to just take care of. And then, of course, the place is a mess. So in order to get to some stuff, we have to move a bunch of stuff around, a job into and of itself.
Yes.
It's like all this work.
I broke some glass and cut my finger today. I think it stopped. It was a pretty deep cut. I had gauze from when I burned my hand. I wrapped up my thumb, but I think it's under control now, which also sets us back. I don't deliberately self-harm, but I think I'm accident prone to begin with, and the more nervous and preoccupied I am, the more sloppy I get, and the more, which then sets us even further back because I had to stop. Remember, it was getting dark anyway. He said I was bleeding over my blood was dripping all over everything. So all right, let's stop a minute. But yeah, there's so much shit. So we just wanted to share all that for anyone who cared or wanted to listen. Because first of all, are we all of your things? All right, let's stop. Oh, and yeah, on a more positive note, to take our mind off everything, Linda Ronstadt. Stone Pony, what was it? Wasn't that band? She was on Stone Pony. Was that it?
I guess, I don't know.
Or was that the thing down the shore? Anyway, Linda Ronstadt. Today's her 80th birthday, so we thought we'd say, well, happy birthday to Linda Ronstadt. Basically, ton of anxiety on top of anxiety, and one project. Do I do this project? Do I do that? I feel overwhelmed. If I do this project, then that becomes like a multi-branched thing. How do you feel about it, bro? Steve?
Overloaded. There's a lot to take care of.
Well, what do you want to do? You have let's think of a plan now because you're off Friday. We can't waste Friday. Plus, I didn't sleep well last. I haven't been sleeping well.
That's not good.
You're not.
Neither have I. Too much. Yeah.
Is that the anxiety? Is that just everything? It's. The Stone Ponies. Yeah, Linda Ronstadt. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, I understand. You're in a small, but we're, 5 of us moved into this house years ago, and now 2 of us are trying to move out without the aid or assistance of the others. Pieces of shit they are. Yes. I don't think Linda Ronstadt ever wrote anything. All her songs were covers or they were written for her. But
Okay, yeah.
no, I figured, look, on a positive note, if Linda Ronstadt can make it 80 years, can I make it to 50? If I don't get my neat bucks, a better chance in another 5-6 years. I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
So we'll focus on the positive. That's why even this is a distraction, but it's a good distraction. Even when it's dull and boring, it's like I found all my micro cassette tapes upstairs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
nice.
And I also feel wrong because we got plastic boxes. We're throwing shit out. Then do I bring these plastic boxes in? We left them in the driveway. They got wet. Then when it rained, but then they dried. And I hate, I feel like I'm going backwards, bringing stuff in to bring stuff out. I mean, how do you feel? Like, what do you?
We've been doing a lot of that. Like we took stuff to the storage unit, then we took it back, and we took more stuff that we brought to the dumpster. This is a very haphazard.
I'm like, we don't waste more money. You were saying, do we need a third dumpster? I hope not. We did get a lot of shit in this one, but I mean, I'm like,
yeah, I know, but
we shouldn't need it. It's the only thing left is all these chairs. And these old wooden chairs, and get rid of.
yes.
I think all the big furniture we're not going to keep, or that we're sure we're not going to keep, is in the dumpster now.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
I think. Ketamine. No, I took methylphenidate. No, actually, I do take methylphenidate, but I just took propanolol, not ketamine. I don't know the stories with ketamine. It's not prescription. It was legal for years. Now does Elon Musk use a lot of ketamine?
What's
Or
it supposed to do?
and I asked, what's ketamine supposed to do? Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. If I hit the lottery or got nice neat bucks and I found peace of mind, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, it's gonna be a very bad 80s. You see how poorly I'm doing in my 40s. It's scary. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Perish the thought. And my fucking piece of shit parents get to live to be in their 80s or 90s because I did the work for them. I got to do this work for you. And I mean, I know that sounds kind of corny, but I can't let you down, even though I'm letting you down majorly.
Yeah, I know.
What do you want to do? Like tomorrow, you're gonna come home, you do little things. You want like Friday really utilize because they're picking up on Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
Just grab shit, throw it in, fill up
Garbage bags.
Garbage bags,
Start
yeah.
filling garbage bags.
What do you recommend, Rafter Man? Also, am I in the shade here? It's like this light under this lamp. Oh. I need a distraction. I think you wanted some kind of little distraction for going to bed.
Yes.
Microphone sound okay? I flipped it around. I'm just, I'm really. I need a distraction. I think you wanted some kind of little distraction for going to bed. Get so overwhelmed and so hung up on the past that it's like I get crippled with anxiety and fear. But
Yes.
plus, we got to start bringing the stuff we want to keep over. Some like little
That
things.
too, yeah.
At least get it out of the house so it's out of the way, so we have more room for shit. So
Yes.
we bring stuff from the basement. Where are we going to put it? Because we got a bunch of shit here. You know, it's like we need to like remove stuff to make room, and
Yes.
you got to bring your stuff down pretty soon. You got
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yes. Living in the moment is hell because I'm trapped in this hellish creation of my own making, Rafter Man. And well, not just my own making way, but true. But it's like everything snowballs and builds and builds. But how's it right now? Let's real empathy, sympathy. How do we feel about Bro C? You're the one who's got to suffer through this.
Yes.
What do you think we can do tomorrow and Friday? Think we can get like stuff sincerely just done, just throw shit out?
I believe we can, yes.
All this paperwork, I have to take it with us and like shred it and destroy it later because there's so many our father's paperwork, my like personal bank information, and so it's like we're just really inundated with shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
My brother's worried about flammable. I'll make a separate garbage bag for all the flammable products. We'll throw that in there. Any junk we've, it's just stuff in my room that's got my name on it. Prescription bottles.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's daunting. It's overwhelming. And had our parents not thrown us off track 2 years ago, we would have been further along. You know what I mean? They set us back.
Yes, they did.
This might be the last time I drink from this cup. Look at this.
Oh, yeah, a bunch of cuts in the cracks.
Yeah. Oh,
Down. Yes.
I just need a little escape, and you're gonna like wind down for bed.
Yes.
But tomorrow we gotta do something. We got something done today. So
We did. Yeah, we did a lot, but there's still a lot to do.
There's still shit in the basement. It's like this never ends. Maybe take apart some of the lighting fixtures downstairs. That'll be the last thing we do.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have kept a chair or two to stand on, but it's okay. Those in the dumpster. These chairs, there's not gonna be enough room. Either we throw them away separately, or I saw them up or some shit. But we did fit a ton of shit in that dumpster.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So that's my existence, and we got till Saturday. They might come anytime on Saturday. So basically, we have till Friday night to get this done. And it's Wednesday night, so we only have 2 days. So, oh my god. And that's about it.
Yep, that's where we're at.
I need to clear the air. And happy birthday to Linda Ronstadt.
Of course.
And I don't know if she has Parkinson's or dementia. I don't think she's active anymore, but it's her birthday coming up, and she's the big 80. So yeah,
she hasn't been well for a few years.
All right. Well, the dumpster they're hauling it away on Saturday, most likely. It could be any time. They come in the morning, come in the afternoon, evening. We don't know. Sometimes Saturday they pick it up.
Yes.
So everything we want to throw out, at least the bulk of this shit's got to be in that dumpster within 48 hours. You understand?
Yes.
When the sun goes down, it gets harder to work. So we got to we got to get up. Yeah. So it's got to be within 48 hours to utilize the dumpster. It is daunting. It's overwhelming. I just, oh my god.
Yes, it is.
And what else to say about you? Like you, they did cut your hours tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Which is actually, it sucks, but it's actually a good thing, at least because you worked a regular day, a regular-ish day. You.
Yeah, I worked until 2. I used to work till 3:30, but 2's not so bad.
PTSD Spurg, aka Flying Solo, saying, he made 250 trading bullshit options today. Good for you. I wish I knew to do that. Would have made more, but I'm Microsoft call for. What does it say? I made more, but I have Microsoft call for a small gain, another one at the small loss, and the stock rises up 3%. Well, if you got on NeatBucks, would you stop doing this? Because you can get kicked off NeatBucks if you make too much, trading stocks and shit. You don't even need to be. You don't even need NeatBucks. You can just spend your days, trading and shit. And that's not meant to be an insult. If you have this talent, you use it, or this ability, or this money, or these relatives with the knowledge, you utilize it. That's correct. We're doing all back. I don't have a job yet, so apply to the job yet. I want to get the dumpster full and just apply to the job over this weekend and see if I can get, got to go back to fucking physical therapy next week and next week. So my prescription did renew, but I took a week off for this shit, and they're like, well, if you don't come back, they might discharge you. I'm like, okay. What's a Microsoft call? Is that stock or is that?
You can buy stocks on call. I forget what it means.
We're simpletons who don't know the fancy world you live in. You've got to, elaborate. I need a job on paper for the apartment, so I guess get a job at the end of this month and see if they,
Yeah, I hope so.
It's just it's daunting. And I think I want to be done with this. Like all this shit, it's like I almost feel like this is like we did a lot. We're still not. It's like this is just. It's like too. Like we shouldn't have to go through all this just to like pay a tax to get out of here. Is what it feels like.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Do you feel like we're paying some extreme penalty for all this?
Yeah, it's costing us too much to get out of here.
Yeah. I don't want to trade much now. I don't usually trade. It's luck mostly. I just need to get my old job back end of August. Good luck. Pump my income into my account and pay off margin. What margin?
I guess it's stocks. I don't know.
It's just scary. It's overwhelming. It makes me want to just freeze up. It makes me want to freeze up. What do you think? No, I mean,
I don't want to freeze up. I want to. It's a daunting task, but I want to get to the end.
Yeah, we're wasting your savings, and not only wasting. That's why we got another reason. The landlord wants us. He wanted me to email him mid-month. I'm going to email him at the end of the month when we pay rent and explain, hey, we got to get, but I don't want to commit to a date. But we got to get in the next month or two.
Yes. We're
going to have to cut the grass one more time. I'm not looking forward to it. It's like all this shit that this house, it's like we We should never come back to this place.
No.
Should have moved our mother in with us, or told our sister, you take some fucking responsibility.
Yeah.
When our father had a stroke, we should just close this place then. We thought, let's move in because it was so sudden. Let's save mom. And what did she do for us? Fucking cunt. Narcy. Options are a contract where you can pay someone who has 100 shares of a company. A call means you think it goes up, and a put you think it's going down. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah, so like you can borrow stock and sell it and buy it back when the price goes down, when it's cheaper, or you can do the opposite.
How would that even work? Where's the money to be made in that if you got to pay someone else back? And why would they want to risk letting you borrow their stock if you fuck it up? I mean,
if I have it correct, yeah. So.
I guess the person who's letting you borrow their stock has faith in your trading ability. You can maximize profits. They have enough faith to say, yes, I'll let you toy with my money so we can both make a profit. I guess someone has to have faith that you can, know what you're doing. I understand. My mind is too fucking fried to try to learn any of this shit now.
Yeah, I know.
But thank you. I do appreciate it. Yes, she has a lot of money. She's a normie. And she's just,
Yeah, I know, yes.
I haven't spoken to my sister in 2 years. She totally turned on us. I thought we were going to work together with our parents, and then she started accusing us of not paying credit card bills, which is a total lie. And she was just looking to start drama. She wanted an out. She's a spoiled fucking cunt. Totally spoiled. That's the thing. Let's say I was making 6 figures, and my sister was working some minimum wage job. Me being who I am, I'm the oldest, I'm a male. I'd be like, okay, I got the money. I'll pay for this. Let's get this. I'd still be like, so I'm still doing all this the responsible thing when I'm like, the least apt to be doing so. Yes. And taking a toll on you. And our sister's a fucking, she's female because she's the youngest. What do you think? I mean, I feel very.
All the above.
I'm envious of his knowledge. I'm impressed with his knowledge. I'm too old and too mentally fried to even try to, learn this crap. I can't concentrate anymore. My ADHD is getting worse. My paranoia, my OCD. Right. Throw her a bone.
I guess if he had money and means, he would help.
Oh, yeah. But my money. Men have all the privileges. That's what she sounds like. She really went nuts. It's. Right, they take your money up front and have contract doesn't go the buyer's way. The seller keeps the cash and shares. So the person selling you the option takes less risk. They take your. Okay, so you say, hi, I want to borrow your stock. Here's some money. And if the contract doesn't go the buyer's way, the seller keeps the cash and the shares. Okay. So I guess if you have a lot of just the rich getting richer, if you have a lot of stocks, you can play this game. Pay me some money. You can borrow my stock. And if it works out, we'll both make a profit. But if you lose, I still keep my shares and I keep the money you paid me. It just sounds like a great way for the rich to get richer. But okay, people who have money and own tons of stock. That's what it sounds like to me. It's people with that much stock probably don't even need. It's like the money that you'll make for them by, optioning. It just sounds like, Do you understand this? Or?
Let's see.
I guess the person who's optioning the stock, they still take a risk selling calls by losing profit on their shares, or selling puts mean they have to buy 100 shares at a set price and keep falling. Okay.
Yeah, because they agree to buy. So let's just say the price is $5, but it goes down to $2. They agreed to buy it back at the $5 price.
Yeah, you're right, Rafterman. I can't focus. I'm thinking about the past. I think the current anxiety is pushing up the old anxiety. We got to fill this dumpster within 48 hours. We do, like I said, it's not like we did nothing. I was amazed. I'm like, wow, look how much shit is in this dumpster. Yeah. And we look around, we're like, oh, how much more shit we have to do? It's like it's like a never-ending nightmare. Unless we do what James said. Leave all this shit and say, hey, Mr. Landlord, you throw it out. And then
I don't want him contacting us. when we're done here, I want to be done here.
Right.
Our landlord's the type who would text, email, try to reach us nonstop.
Yeah.
So no,
Might try to send us a bill or some shit.
We have to be done. We can't play any games like that.
You were just here when I said we got a lot done, but there's still so much more to do that it feels like, as productive as we are, it's like trying to drain the ocean of water. You know what I mean? No matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you bucket the water out, you're never going to get all the water out of the ocean. That's what it feels like. It just feels so daunting and overwhelming. It's like it could be like a never-ending project. Yeah, the shrink session was interesting-ish. Oh, and Linda Ronstadt turns 80 today. So
Yes.
I got a lot of Southwesterners watching me. Scandinavians and Southwesterners. Horse, you were one of those former kind of Southwesterners. So, why not grab what you found, those pine cones from 30 years ago?
Yeah.
I remember one time, I think it was in New Mexico. We were going to like Carlsbad Caverns or some shit. My brother picked up these two pine cones or spruce cones. This was like in the desert, the brush. And we found them. We were going through some shit today. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me take a look. Amen, Horse. Amen. Yeah, so we want to say, yeah, we found this on the side of the road. We stopped to take a piss or something. It was in the desert. It was just like, let us know, you Southwesterners, what plant did because we're like, wow, these are really big cones. And this wasn't like a forest or anything. It was like a desert. Yeah. It was like a sagebrush chaparral. But we just thought they were kind of cool. But a lot of this stuff we'll just toss it at this point because we've gotten to the point. Fuck it, we don't want to go through this shit. It's almost like getting rid of it. But we saw this. All right, we'll share these on stream. What is the source of this plant? I remember this being from Southwest. I think it was Carlsberg Caverns area 30 years ago on some road trip. Happier times. Yes, well, yeah, especially when you have a place to move to. It's definitely suey fuel. And when you're stuck with all your parents' bullshit, oh my God. Yes, Rafterman, you're actually on point for once. I'm impressed. Yes, 30 years worth of crap. All the stuff. Oh my God. Yes, it's overwhelming. Oh my! It's just I feel like this shake, this buzz, this anxiety. It's like, how do you feel? Just fucked up or just upset or depressed?
I feel overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
A little depressed.
Oh my God. I think we were guilty of kind of hoarding a
to
bit,
an extent,
but not the way our parents did. Now we're basically cleaning up their decades of mess, and we're the ones paying for it. It's like, how does this become our burden?
Yeah.
Interesting. So even a normie like Horse, a good job, good money. Even you felt the same way. It was like, yeah, fight or flight, yeah. And I freeze, fight, flight, or even freeze. If I do this, but I also have to do that. But if I do this, it's going to branch out into even more projects. And if I do this, it branches out. It's like, yeah, I freeze like deer in the headlights sometimes. Just thinking about this. It's overwhelming. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my God. So at least thank you for the tea and sympathy, I guess.
Yes.
It just we feel less alone now. Rafterman's actually, sometimes he gets into lolly, and he's actually on the ball tonight. And Horace, thank you for the kind words. It does help. There's a reason we do this. It's some kind of stress release or some kind of quasi, some kind of outlet. Also, like I used to talk to Mike Grissett, even if I never listened to them, I kind of feel like rather than just talk to thin air, at least it's recorded. I feel like, well, this is recorded. It makes it more real. You know what I mean? So all the above. It's why I said let's do a little streaming before you go to sleep. And oh my God. Yes. I give up on selling. The Hess trucks and Lionel trains are going in the garbage. Fuck that. I don't know where they're over there. They dump. We got a bunch of shit to just dump. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Many a man have had mental breakdowns moving house. I believe it. I was already in the state of a mental breakdown for the past 7 years, and it just adds to it. Yes. Something in the universe wants me to go insane. Clearly. Yes. You feel terrible. Yeah, I didn't sleep very well. I woke up with flies buzzing around me because I guess you even said even though you took a shower, you can still smell like the charcoal.
Yes.
I guess these flies smell, and I'm trying to sleep, but I feel like things. I'm like, oh, God, it's just yeah. But actually, the good news is the tuna subs were good. Did you have a hamburger today or yesterday?
I just said it. Yes.
This is why we do this. So one less hassle because we did 2 days of back-to-back grilling. Didn't cook, and he got those subs, tuna subs. Didn't have to cook tonight. Won't have to cook tomorrow. I can have a cheeseburger tomorrow or just a regular burger. I got to cut up that tomato.
Yeah.
So and we still have plenty of because you got 2 subs. You still have like 3/4 of a sub left.
Yes.
So we still got tuna and bacon and a few burgers. So we should have food. We don't have to worry about dinner tonight. We don't have to worry about it tomorrow. That'll help. I'm about Friday. Friday we go to work. So Friday we really got to just go to town.
I agree.
So that's why, for those who ask, I think Laffy asked, why do you make so much food all at once? So we don't have to. You do it all at once. You have to worry about it for the next few days. Because
Yes.
you imagine to stop and cook tonight after all we're doing. No,
I know. Yeah.
no. Oh, no one identified those coniferous cones. I don't know if they're pine or, but it was in the. That's why it was like it wasn't in like a forest. It was in or the woods. It was in like. I remember it was like the day. It was like sagebrush chaparral and these giant conifer. I'm like what? Well, they're cutting his hours back. But how did you work all these hours? You never seem to have. He never had the social problems. He just goes to work and he never really rises in the ranks. But he just people don't love him or hate him. They just tolerate him. And
I'm a good background.
well, I think because he's a manlet, they see him as harmless. When he says something off kilter, they just laugh and say, "Oh, that's cute."
Also, with my previous job, because I had no social life, I could always work later, come in when some people didn't show up. Someone wanted a day off, I would go in. So I got overtime and whatnot. I was a reliable cover. That really.
And what would you get for all that? Just paying for my lazy fucked up ass?
Yeah.
Kind of. What do you think about that? Dumb is more of the worker bee for sure. Dumb needs to work to have a purpose.
I never enjoyed any of the jobs that I had. I just did it so I could have money to pay utilities and rent and stuff like that. And whenever I had a vacation, like when my previous job, when I was unemployed for 6 months, I slept till like noon, 1 o'clock every day. I loved being unemployed and having money come in.
I think with you, once you do get a job, you're able to keep it. You've never had forced out the way I have.
Correct.
And you always say it's my fault. There's like that's what I'm saying. Horse, you said something interesting that I thought was odd. I do enjoy hearing other opinions. You were talking about last year that Amazon job where they fired me for not putting on a seatbelt. Of all my firings, that was one of the weirdest. Usually I got managers who want to go after me, coworkers who don't like me, and I've had some violent encounters, as you know. I had a nigger bitch try to run me over. I've had all kinds of crazy. They want to arrest me for vaping. I've had crazy shit happen. The Amazon job was different. It was just like they were that micromanagerial that doesn't really try to understand why me forgetting to put a seatbelt on. I'm going from this seat to this seat. We're trying to do all this, and the kids telling me this. Why being fired like that? What do you think, Bruce? That's not how I normally end up getting fired.
Yeah, it was like.
That's actually, in my opinion, not a good demonstration of my normal work history. That was just such a weird, the kid's training me, but I'm being managed from afar by people who aren't with us. It was so weird. I've never had quite that experience. I don't know how that pertains. It was such a unique situation. I don't know how in your opinion, Horse, how does that compare? That really doesn't compare to any other job I've been fired from. That was a unique firing.
Yeah, that's hard to really place. It's logistical.
Yeah.
It just, he didn't follow a rule. Yeah, I don't know how to describe that one. That was weird.
And we go on Gibbs next.
All right, then.
See if I get approved for Gibbs. They say the average of, what is it? I forget what it was. Was it? May, I think I have to make. I think it's like 6 months average before you get the decision. It's probably going to be negative, but usually, it can take forever, but they usually say within 6, so hopefully by November, maybe sooner. If I'm lucky, they say 3 to 6 months. So if not August, by November, I should know if I've been approved or denied, and then go from there. Mine or his favorite job? It's hard to say because they all kind of suck in different ways. Well, When I worked for the Census Bureau, not in the office, when I was out and about in my own vehicle, it wasn't really a good job to put miles in your own vehicle, but I love that. I love being out on my own. I was about 27-ish, summer of 09, the year before the 2010 census. I think the driving around part in my car, not a company vehicle, that was my favorite job, I think. Unlike DoorDash and Uber Eats, where you got to like drive around, I was still getting paid from the time you would fill out a timesheet from when you started working to the time you stopped. And so I was guaranteed the pay rate. I think driving for the census, canvassing, that was my favorite job that I've ever had. But that was temporary. That was my favorite.
I have never had a favorite job. All the jobs I did, I just did to get a paycheck. I never liked any of them.
Hello, Eric Draven.
What's up?
We were talking about how anxiety, how overwhelmed we are, how all the work we did today, all the shit we got in that, we had a lot of shit in that dumpster. We still haven't, and it's so much little shit now. We're going to fill up. I got to go through my room. It's like, oh my God. Yes. See, I don't know if that's a fair statement. I don't. And I'm not just saying this to be defensive. I don't think that's a fair statement on your part, Gritty, or on Horse's part. That's not usually the problem I have. Most jobs I get trained. I deal with some asshole, but and there is like, not just me, like other coworkers, people they hire. Sometimes I've had to train people. There's a little bit of leniency for the new guy on his first day. You don't say, hey, you fucked that up, you're fired, after like an hour. Like I've never experienced anything that intense because I've seen a lot of new trainees fuck up royally. Some of them continue to fuck up but not get fired. Others learn the ropes. No, I think I think that Amazon, which was actually wasn't really Amazon. I was Amazon truck, but I was working for a logistics company they contract with. That was such a, and apparently I wasn't the only one. There had been some apparently several drivers, because they were driving around so much, they were forgetting to put their seatbelts on. So what they would do is they would buckle their belt and just like not wear it, have it buckled all the time so they can get out of the car. Announcement was made. We're cracking down on that. If we see your seatbelt is buckled like the whole trip, it means you're clearly not wearing it. This is apparently a very, very big deal for all these drivers. They were very anal about this. No, I don't think it's fair to me to use that. You know of that because that happened last year. You don't know my other stories. So you're using that. I don't think me getting fired just like that at Amazon, that was one of the most strictest. I'm fired just like that was. That is not at all indicative. It's usually if someone fucks up, you point it out. The person training them points it out. They learn as they go. I've never had someone from afar, try to dictate what's going on. You're not in the field with us, but I've never had something like that. Well, you can't follow directions because you didn't put the seatbelt on. It just seems like, have you ever, again, I go back to, you probably would have been fired from Walmart in your first day if it was that strict. So I don't want to hear this. This is a little too, I don't think it's incorrect, inaccurate, I feel. Comparing that weird Amazon job with mine. What do you think?
Yeah, it was like a lapse in judgment. He didn't wear the seatbelt. It wasn't.
It wasn't a lapse. We got out of the car, delivered here. It's okay. Now you get in the driver's seat. We're gonna go 2 blocks out. Like, it was just like go. I was like, all right, it's just yeah. And then he didn't say, hey, you forgot your seatbelt, man. The guy training me. I get someone. Are you not wearing a seatbelt? Our computer shows. I'm like, who the fuck is it? What the fuck? That was probably the most big brother's job I ever had. But no, I've seen a lot of new trainees fuck up royally. You tell them the same thing over and over, they still fuck up. But there's always a learning curve. I don't think anyone should get fired on the first day. But no, that's not indicative. Because I forgot the seatbelt with all this rush, here, and the kids trying to train me, but I didn't realize I was being monitored from a. It's like it's like if you're going to train me from afar, you should be talking the whole time. It just seemed. I've never had a job like that before. It's not really comparable, but and apparently it's a very common problem they have. You're merely pointing out where you think Brosi was right about your own behavior mistakes leading to. Well, no, you were complaining that you like to play the blame the spur game. Oh, you vaped. Oh, you spilled some iced tea. Oh, all this crap. I see people do much worse. So what is it the horse is agreeing with? How did you feel about that Amazon thing? When I was fired this out, I'm like, what?
I thought it was bizarre.
Yeah, that I don't think that's indicative of my normal work experience. That was one of the weirdest jobs I ever had. I mean, you can be because he thinks that Amazon thing somehow supports your theory, whatever your theory is. But you're saying that the Amazon thing is kind of an outlier.
Yeah,
what do you? What do you? Again, you're saying the fact that I forgot to put it on and was terminated twice within like a 3-hour period. In 2 different seats. Once I learned and once I was warned in the passenger seat, I never made that mistake again. I should have gotten a second warning. You're in the driver's seat now. Oh, right. I think it was a one warning fits all when I was changing positions. Either I'm the driver or I'm the trainee. It's like, why are we switching seats now? Like musical chairs. That job, it doesn't compare to really any job I've had before. That was even my shrink was like, that seems to be overkill. That doesn't, my experience there, not putting the seatbelt on, I don't think is indicative of anything that you've said about me or any of my job experiences or anything that's happened. I'm not trying to, maybe you're right. I'm just trying to understand what you're getting at better. Instead of telling me what you didn't, I wasn't making a comment. Well, what are you saying? I still can't follow. Spell it out. Again, with people and the riddles, Christ. No, I still understand how that seatbelt thing had anything to do with any job I had before or since. It was just the seatbelt thing. So, working overnight grocery. Places are so desperate for people, they'll take anyone. You got junkies, druggies. I always try to give it my best. They're much more lenient, and they let real major fuck-ups get away with total shit. I guess that Amazon job, logistics was so... It was such a big deal about drivers and seatbelts. I don't know, but not like any job I've ever had before or since. I can't compare that to any other experience I've had. And that doesn't typically align with my normal experience. I still understand what you're trying to get at, Horse. That's why I'm asking. Maybe you're onto something, but you got to clarify. And you're saying you're agreeing with him, but I'm trying. What does Horse agree? Maybe Horse. What is he agreeing with, and how does the seatbelt at Amazon indicative of this? I don't understand. Don't try to fill in blanks. Do you understand what he's saying? Do you agree, or are you confused?
No, because the Amazon job was just a bizarre, unexplainable thing.
The Amazon stuck out. Okay. Yeah, that's true. If it was really like I didn't realize what a millet was. Maybe that's part of it. If Amazon really fires everyone. That's great, Horse. That's great. I understand what he's talking about. We were talking about the seatbelt. Now he's talking about. No, I was talking about in grocery, man. When you work in a grocery store, did you see any of your fellow trainees fuck up royally? Actually, he's proving my point. He was never fired. You probably didn't always follow instructions properly, but they were less, quick to fire you over it. You're only proving my point. I'm saying that Amazon driving job was so bizarrely strict. It doesn't compare to any job I've had. You're actually proving my point. I was never fired for any of them. I was 50. Okay, that's great, man. They probably didn't say up. You didn't put your, you used the wrong box cutter, or you didn't rotate or pull, what do you call it? Expired out of code items. You did that twice in your shifts, and now you're fired same day. It was never that, down your throat. You'd be given a warning. You'd explain what you're doing wrong. It was never up. It's like they were just looking for a reason to fire at that Amazon job. Yeah, but Gritty, the Amazon thing didn't. I wasn't colliding with anyone. That's why that Amazon thing was such an outlier, and I don't understand what Horse is getting at. That didn't have nothing to do with me clashing with anybody. It was just apparently Big Brother decided that 2 infractions in X amount of hours was like grounds for dismissal. I've never heard anything that intense. I don't think you have explained your logic explicitly. I'm still confused what you're getting at, Horse. I honestly don't know what you're trying to get at. The fact you oblivious to what? What am I? Which you're talking about the people problems at other jobs, or you're talking about this Amazon job where it wasn't people? It was like Big Brother, the voice in the sky saying, "We were watching you." I understand. That's why the Amazon. How does the Amazon fit into all my other fucking experiences? What do you? No one really explains. Bros, we've worked together before a few times, and
yes,
he didn't get fired.
No.
I did. That's true. Tully knows. Like yours truly. It's always, giga losers and weirdos. Yes. That means the rest of the morning people like him and they all look down. And that's part of it too. When I transitioned from nights to that second shift, Maybe they hated me because I was one of those overnight weirdos. You know. Well, you have to ask him. Do you see what HorseHead is saying here?
Oh yeah, there's a major difference because he didn't deliberately not wear his seatbelt. He just was flustered and didn't think about it. He deliberately vapes when he knows he's not supposed to. So when he deliberately breaks the rules repeatedly, the management gets upset with him. He's surprised when they don't want to help him out.
Well, what about the other grocery store where they didn't give a fuck if I vaped, but they still wanted to get rid of me because they wanted that fucking junkie to have all the nice cush hours and me to work like a dog. So it's not always about using this as an excuse.
You're focusing on that too much. In these other scenarios where the people turned against you, you violated the rule. In this other one where they all favored the junkie, it's not that you were really breaking any rules or whatnot, unless there's more that happened there that we don't know about.
Listen, I was like the one other job when the nigger bitch started me over, and I told him about it. We're doing my father's stroke, COVID hit, and when I finally said, "What the hell? What's being done about this?" Months later, oh, she was nowhere near you. Where's the fucking tape? They were being jackasses, and they said we gotta get rid of them. So then they dug up an old tape of me vaping from 2 months earlier and wanted to have me arrested for it. They had to get rid of me because they were afraid I'd blow the whistle. Now it's not acting like I've worked in jobs where people act like terrible jackasses, and they get a pass. So now I think Gritty is oversimplifying. I still understand what the hell HorseHead's getting at. I think you keep going back to vaping. I haven't lost every fucking job because of fucking vaping. It's like, come on. Jesus Christ. Right, horses. I agree. You're right, Flying Solo. Your union, and no one seems to fuck with you. You don't have the social problems. You're not a Spurg. You're just Spurg adjacent, Tuli. All these people keep saying laid off. Is that different? Laid off is we don't have the hours, the money. We have to let you go. I'm talking about being fired. We're getting rid of you. You're fired. You're fired. I got laid off twice. When you going back to work, man? Kind of was a company layoff. They just used the theft as an excuse. They just used time theft. Yeah, I'd see their the darling workers do a lot of time theft while I'm working like a dog, and it was. I don't think it wasn't even the management. The management didn't do anything. It was these others who wanted to come after me. So the whole vaping thing was like these. Let's get them. If I didn't vape, they'd find some other reason. I didn't really that one fucking frozen guy who'd come in, punch in, sit down on the bench, bullshit for like an hour, theft of time, but. And he'd set his own hours, and when I complained, why is he coming in 2 hours early? He's getting in my way here. The one bitch, Donna, the manager, lied. Oh, maybe he's not sure, but I said he wouldn't be able to punch in. He's overriding. I tell my stories. Well, how do you finish early? There's always work to be done. Every job I've ever had, there's always work to be done. I've never finished. Okay. Are we behind? I'm amazed we're so behind here.
Very behind, yeah.
Well, see, I'm trying to be fair, Horse. I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't understand the point you're trying to make. Maybe you did recognize something that I didn't, but I don't understand the connection. Well, what's your main occupation? If that's just Walmart's a side hustle, that's fine. Having a second, pin money job. What's your main profession? And are you, prosperous in said profession? Okay, fired. Everybody's laid off like this nice little thing. Just call it what it is. You're being fired. When you're fired. Well, no. That's why I said the Amazon was the weirdest. I'd never been fired like that from afar. Usually I'm called to an office with some managers. I've been fired many times. That Amazon was like an outlier. It was one of the weirdest. I'm like, I wasn't deliberately not listening, and I'm trying to pay attention. I'm listening to this kid. I know the voice of God is like watching. It was the weirdest. That was one. I've never had a job like that before. It was the weirdest. Brave New World. Or they're talking to each other, it looks like.
Yeah.
Sloth, ignore me, didn't Sloth. Do you live on your own or with mommy? Or so he came back from his grandmother's funeral to a meeting. He was told he was fired.
What a rough day.
Rough day. Did Grandma at least leave you her? Did she will you her house? You got to live in her after she died. You got to live in her house. At least you inherited a house that day, right?
Yeah.
Or am I confusing people's stories? Oh, wait, do we need one more beer? Where are we doing beer? Wait,
I'll go get
you wanna get, yeah, we're getting. I'm glad we did. We need like a release, catharsis. Well, is that really your main profession? If you can support yourself doing slop stocks, then yes. If it's just something you're doing as a side hustle, maybe you want it to be. I wish you and Gritty and the others the best, but you can't say it's your main profession if you're not actually profiting from it in any meaningful, sustainful way. It itself is still a side hustle if you're just making pin money here and there. Best of luck, keep at it, but you can't call it your main job if you're not actually, if you're not actually subsisting, what was we looking for? Making a living off of it? Are you actually making a living off this quote unquote main job? What about you, Gritty? What's your main job after the Walmart hustle? What's your main job? Is anyone prosperous in their main jobs? It's part of the problem. I got people giving me like job advice when they don't really seem to have, other than horse, the normie. No one here seems to really be thriving in the occupational world. It makes it way harder to be sympathetic to the bullshit. You haven't been through the bullshit that I have. I'm not saying it's like we give that and I'm not trying to get a pissing contest. I just understand. Of course, everybody goes through shit at work. It's the extent and the level, and it's. I don't think Horse has been through what I've been through in the workplace. What do you think?
Probably not.
I don't really want your sympathy. I want you to, like my sister. She's like, men have all the privileges. The boss's son makes, 100,000 more than I do. Men. What about the guy, the Mexican scrubbing the toilet? Men. People like to look up and see what they don't have. Yeah. They dismiss what's below. You should say, wow, things are good. For all the shit I went through, wow, he had it worse. That's what you should be thinking, Horse. Where are we? Most of these people are talking to each other. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's true. I'd still be a fuck up Spurg, but our parents definitely added to our fuck uppery. But he's saying if we had financial help or financial planning, what was he saying? If OC and Brosi had real help in their late 20s and some financial planning, they would have been fine. We would have been better-ish, but I don't think we would have been fine.
I think a little better, but still messed up.
And we were talking about the day you were fired and your grandmother died. I don't think your grandmother's funeral took 6 months. This is bully OC. You're bullying me. You're calling me a bully. I would have a lot more, but I started later as well. Only been doing this for 22 months with shit income and still paying some bills. Well, if one day you can make it a career, congratulations, but you're not quite there yet. Keep at it, but don't call it your main job yet. And Grady's main job is pressure washing, and Walmart Spark can be full-time if you want it to be. God, you loser is like pulling teeth. No, we're talking about you. You're not a Walmart manager. Walmart, you said, is just a side job. That's cool. I asked what your main job was, and are you prosperous at it? If you are, congratulations. If you're working towards prosperity, I envy that. I admire that. But is your pressure washing business paying the bills? That's what I'm asking you. If not, and is stock trading paying flying solos bills? The answer is no. So these aren't actual careers. Don't pretend they are. I don't think you're challenging me. I just understand what you're getting at. Yes, I'm sure you've gone through shit in the workplace. I'm saying it could have been a whole lot worse. People have it even worse. So yes, I feel for you. I'm with you, man. But you're saying you're actually getting challenging with me. Oh, some nigger bitch trying to run over some guy strangled you. Well, my one manager was giving me a hard time because didn't like the way the video editing came out, so she moved my desk to the other room. Like your problems. It's like I don't. It's like okay, dude. Fine, maybe I'm trivializing it, but yeah, Christ. Exactly. People are gonna look down, right? Oh, so he doesn't actually work. I thought he worked in Walmart, stocking shelves. He works. That's their version of DoorDash. Walmart Sparks. Okay, okay. So that's his side hustle. So you don't even work with people then, from what it sounds like, Gritty. That's why it's like who the other day who was I criticizing? There's someone I was criticizing. It's like don't lecture someone if you yourself don't have experience with something. It's do you have any coworkers, Gritty, or you just by yourself? You're by yourself doing this Walmart drive around, and your power. I mean, if you own the pressure washing, or you work for a pressure washing company, or
And do you have your own LLC or what?
do you have managers and bosses? Are you subordinate to anybody? Do you have to work with people all day? I don't
Do you have a website? Can we look up your business?
Okay, we'll look it up. What's your website? Well, he says he's starting to get on their level.
Okay,
Guys,
so all right, so you're making some money. Are you at the break-even point, or are your profits enough to live off of? You said starting.
And I'm not knocking a side hustle driving around. I'm not knocking that at all. I was doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. I'm not knocking that. But that's not your main career. And you're not even I thought I work at Walmart, I thought you're saying you work at a Walmart, like, part-time, 20 hours a week for some extra or whatever, maybe insurance or something. You don't even work with people. So I'm not saying that I'm not making fun of you for the Walmart. That's your side gig. But I'm asking, do you work with people or? No, it's a whole other animal, Gritty. It's a whole other animal. That's not what I'm asking. You haven't answered my damn question. Yes, it's hard acquiring customers and keeping them happy. That's a whole separate issue. I'm talking about what I would say the greatest workplace hazard. The greatest workplace hazard is the occupational click. You don't have any occupational, clicks to deal with. Yes, dealing with customers, but they're not your coworkers. And it's like apples and oranges. I'm not trivializing the Walmart thing, and I'm not saying it's not hard acquiring customers, but it's like a different. We're doing apples and oranges, Gritty. Stay on point. I made Horse mad. Well, Horse is guilty what my sister is. I'm not saying they don't have problems. I'm saying stop looking up, look down, and see how much worse it could be. They seem to struggle with that. And when I call them out on it, they seem to think that I have problems too. I guess I know you do. I'm not trivializing. You're challenging me. No, you're challenging me. Ugh. Okay. Hey, where did Horse go? You got upset? I don't know. Like he never really expounded upon the point about the Amazon job being some kind of indication of my other experiences. He never that I could tell. And he's like, "Yes, I already expanded upon it." And I'm like, "Horse, speak your mind already." Like, are we dealing with a bunch of I don't know. It's like a Lonely Hearts Club. I'm honest about all my failures and shortcomings, and I guess these people are still kind of in some kind of denial. Or maybe I'm wrong. What do you think, bro? See, I could be wrong. I don't know. I wish you all the best. But what do you?
I don't know either.
What does Bro C think? Oh yeah, Rafterman. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
You're really on point. So many times you say things that I'm like, come on, you're really on point. So, yeah, no one here should be bragging about their jobs. We all work shit jobs. Other than horse, we're all working shit jobs. Let's not try to fluff. What was it? Not ruffle feathers. Like prop ourselves up. It's like, come on, we're all a bunch of self-admitted losers and failures and weirdos. What do we try? I mug you with my. It's like wage slaves trying to pissing contest. What is this? I agree. PTSD Spurg. Horse just doesn't understand that people lower than him just say shit because venting. I don't believe Horse had it good 24/7. Right. He just had some more help and could continue. And the shit he had wasn't. It could have been much more shitty. He's not aware. He's oblivious to the greater shit. Yeah. Okay. Well, I am disabled. I'm a mental case. I'm in a wheelchair.
Yes.
I am a disabled. Are you falling asleep? Are you going to bed soon?
No, I'm doing fine.
You got to sleep. Sleep. I know.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll do some more stuff. It's really Friday. We got to go to work.
Yes.
I'm glad we needed an escape, a catharsis.
We did, yes.
Truly. Oh, see, rich people have problems too. You just don't understand. You're right. We got to forgive our kid sister. She has every right to. Yeah, exactly. Horse has gone through a lot of things. Says Thule probably, but he hasn't got fired because he's not a jackass bad behavior. I think that's an oversimplification of me, but okay. I think some of the just world fallacy is circulating among these people. Right, Rafterman, you are a genius tonight. Yeah, more money, more problems. Yeah, I'd rather have the rich man's problems than be a fucking homeless. But absolutely. Flying Solo claims he's a bigger basket case than I am. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe but I don't know. I'll be incel rich in 5 years. Well, if you're gonna be rich, you must be doing something right. Congratulations, you're doing something right. 100% year of year. Okay. Yeah, that who did Rosie? Who remember Linda Ronstadt didn't write any of her own songs. Who wrote the original Blue Bayou? Think you should know. I'm going back Roy Orbison. I'm going back someday to see you play in Blue Bayou where the fishing boats. Yeah. I'm happy for you, Gritty. I'm happy. I wish you the best. Congratulations. Stuck at grocery stores and fast food. Okay. Yes, you're above us. I think the guy who actually is above us needs to have a little more. I'm talking about HorseHead. Needs to have a little more comprehension. I think Gritty. I don't know why you're so defensive. Again, now Rafferman's losing it. She covered it, but that she didn't write that. That was she never wrote any. The covers are written for her. But today's her 80th birthday, so I said, "Wow, the big 80."
Went before him.
Oh wait, did Gritty ever give us the link to his power washing company?
He said he never would.
Why not? We won't share it. Right, that's what I'm saying.
No. See, you were responding to this comment, but you clicked on that comment.
Okay. I'm going back someday. Something in Blue Bayou, the fish. Yeah, no. Hey, why won't he give us the link? He said you could look it up, and you asked him for the link. Why you don't want to share?
He said he would never give it to us.
You think we're going to dox you? We already know who you are. I'm not going to oppose, but it's like, go ahead. Okay, now they're talking amongst themselves.
Yeah, I know.
If I talk about the good shit in my life, it's punching down. No, or if I mention that I have had shitty jobs before, he says, I think you're No, you said that to me, that I was always challenging you, and I say, well, it could be a lot worse. You have to be cognizant of that. You accused me of challenging you, as I recall, which I said, well, maybe you're challenging me. Well, Linda Ronstadt's 80 today.
I know,
We got a lot
80,
to do.
yes.
This takes our mind off of it, albeit briefly. No, I agree with the horse. You were talking about the moving. It was good to hear your, like I said, tea and sympathy. Well, I think when we can relate to certain things, it's good. When we struggle, it's important to try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and not just say, well, it's like my sister. Even she said she's making six figures. I don't make that much money. She said, I don't really make all that much. It's like, I would kill to have a job like you, where you get paid six figures to do very little, stay in an air-conditioned office and push paper around. But no, I don't really make that much. Yeah, because she's comparing herself to people who make more. She's totally oblivious to the underlings. Right. You said I was challenging you every time you try to share, and I said, well, maybe you're challenging me by saying that because okay. All right, you can email me a link sometime. Occupational.click@gmail. I might not. Can I type emails here? Feel free. Yeah, occupational.click@gmail.com. Fair enough.
Okay,
fair enough.
All right.
Fly wants my beer.
Yes.
I can tell you're getting tired. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a bunch of shit in the dumpster. We still have so much more shit to do.
We have so much.
But again, we made all that food, so we have food for the next 2-3 days. Thank God. Don't have to worry about cooking. One less thing to worry about. Yeah, Blue Bayou was originally by Roy Orbison. Mr. Roymond Orbisinski. Yes, Roy Orbison. Horace, you're being defensive and passive aggressive. It's okay, man. We might have disagreements every now and then. Calm down. Calm.
Let's all calm down.
Let's all calm down.
It's Linda Ronstadt's 80th
birthday. Exactly.
Can't we all be happy?
Exactly. Can we? It's like, of all the days, I mean, the 2 days we shouldn't argue: Christmas and Linda Ronstadt's what's the 80th birthday? Octocentennial. Yeah. Come on, calm. Ah, yes. Okay. You couldn't trip out early or sit around and stream from work. I'm sorry. You had to actually put a little more effort today. That's tough. But when they expect you to work a full 8-hour shift, I'm sorry to hear it. I'm teasing, but there's some truth to what I'm saying. Yes, you are. You're being a bit of an ogre. You're a bit of an ogre tonight.
More animal than man.
Now, is this it, or we do one final? You tell me.
Was it one final?
I'll take what you can. You get. And sleep in. And be late. Fuck it. Don't risk it. And yeah. And then Friday, we gotta get up and just throw shit away. Right. Everyone's looking up. People have to struggle to look down. Maybe I'm guilty of it too. I actually kind of love to to come across. Maybe that's why people like watching. I'm a locale, but also someone did it worse, so I feel like, wow, I'm not that, at least as bad as someone had even. I'd really feel empathy and compassion and sympathy for them because if somebody had even worse than I'd be like, whoa. I'm going back soon. Like I said, I don't boast and brag about how I mod people with my beautiful lush head of hair because it's not their fault that they're baldies. You know what I mean? So I don't hold that against anybody. If someone wants to come on and talk about their not Rogaine woes, I wouldn't like scoff at them. I'd say, wow, I feel for you, man. I guess I'm lucky. That would remind me to count my blessings. I cried when I had no shoes until I met the man with no feet. Old saying. Thank you, Rafterman, for acknowledging, for recognizing, for saying okay. Thank you.
Very nice.
Love is a rose, but you better not pick it. Only grows when it's on the vine.
Handful of thorns, and I know you missed it. Lose your love
when you see the word mine. You know the song.
Yes.
That was written by Neil Young, but her arrangement was more, this is more love is a rose, but you better not. Yeah. So I liked her. She did a good job at rendition. Love is a rose, but you better not pick it. Only grows when it's on the vine. A handful of thorns, and
I know you
miss it. Lose your love when you say the word mine.
Nice.
Spurgs and cells are so protective of their own special suffering that the mere mention of someone's journey flips. No, it's not that. You're trying to make connections and parallels. Like if someone said, "Wow, I'm going bald. I'm losing all my hair," and I said, "I know exactly what you mean. I can relate." I got up the other day and I didn't comb my hair right, so I had a bad hair day. It's so terrible. You can't make that comparison. I know better than to do something like that. That's what I'm getting at. Something we don't like seeing horses in general suffer. Equus. I'm not trying to tear anyone down, Gritty. I think you guys get defensive with me when I say, cut the shit out. I'm not trying to tear you down. I say I wish you the best with your power washing. Right, we do. Yeah. Yes. At least I have a potential. Like, I might not get neat bucks. At least I have the ability to apply for it. Could you imagine living in some shithole? So I guess that's something to count as a blessing. At least I can try to apply for Social Security disability. At least I have that theoretical option. I'm yes. Absolutely. Good. Zay, good comparison, Flying Solo. I didn't say, wow, so easy. I said apples and oranges, and you'd probably slit your wrists if you had to go through where I went through because you wouldn't be used to people treating you that way. Well, what were you talking? What did you bring up? You said you've had bad things happen. You told me you were fired the day of your grandmother's funeral. Really bad day. I'm just chuckling now. Oh, look, it was a bad day. I did a grandma's funeral. You weren't expecting to get fired. It was kind of blindsided. I understand that, but I mean. You think it's funny? No, it's not fun. Why am I laughing? Well, maybe I do think it's a little bit funny. Sure, a little funny. It is a little funny. Am I wrong to laugh at that? No. See, if you were my manager, you're my normie manager, I'd be like, he'd be like, I don't like that OC piece of shit. And when some nigger bitch tries to run me over, some guy strangles me, and I go to him, he would just bury it. Oh, well. You would get retaliatory because I pissed you off because I laughed about your grandmother's funeral on the day you got fired. You would probably get petty and vengeful. You wouldn't say, even though I like this guy, no one should be running people over. I take this very seriously. You'd probably say, I don't like that fucker. He laughed at my grandmother's funeral. Oh, it was a former coworker who was in a liquor store. And you can laugh at it, but it was just so out of left field. We'll talk about it. I'll do the video. Right. I think we're after him. A bad day for his sister's accident for getting her packed sushi lunch. Yes, exactly. Okay, like our sister. I don't make that much. Men, I make $100,000. The boss's son makes $200,000. Men have so much easier. Men, like you stupid bitch. Would have been an easy out for bro. What was easy out?
I guess if the guy killed you.
Oh, okay. Oh, Horse is really upset. Jeez, what are you so upset over? I don't think your grandmother's death is funny per se. What I think is funny is that you're getting so upset over, like, I don't know. Well, I guess from your perspective, it is very upsetting. You don't realize how much more upsetting things can be. In fact, I remember when I was in my car accident, my shrink said, do you have flashbacks about that? And I said, you know what? If I had a nice, normal, cush life, maybe I would. But I've had so much weird shit happen to me that a fucking car accident and being stuck on the side of the road in the snow for hours with no power, it's almost like a drop in the bucket in my life. So things that, I guess that's the one good thing. I've had such weird fucked up experiences that more normal traumas don't faze me the way they would faze normies. So I guess I should be sympathetic to your, it is traumatic for you. What I'm trying to say is, believe me, you could have had much worse experiences where grandma's funeral getting fired seems like, I told you our father had a stroke. I had to get my car towed that day because the car, I'll tell my stories. And I went to work and it was the faggot manager's last day. And I'll tell that story. It's like, I've experienced what you have and then some. And he's talking about, okay, I'm happy for you. Sounds like it's a side hustle when you become a professional day trader. When you have the stocks that you can option out, that's how you know you've made it. Even Gritty, it is a little funny. Gritty gets it too. It's like, and it reminds me of a comic. I remember when I was in college, there was this one little newspaper, comic book newspaper that came out like quarterly or whatever. And it was just like amateur college artists. And there was this one, it was midterm time, and there was this one comic strip, and it said, this is why people hate art majors at midterm time. And this one guy's going about, man, I got my physics exam coming up, and I got to write a dissertation, and I got to get it all done by next week, plus I got to study for this. And this chick goes, yes, I'm a biology major. I get my labs done, and I'm behind on getting my chemical arranged for the chemistry assignment. And then the art major goes, well, guys, I have to write one whole paragraph on what the color orange means to me and do 2 drawings. I have it hard too. And it's like the real academic students are worried about, I got to write these papers, dissertations, get this shit done, present it, I can fail. I got to write a whole paragraph on what the color orange means to me, man, and I got to draw two whole images by next month. Oh, it's like, okay, that's what it reminds me of, kind of. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm confused here. A Mexican kid was he a coworker or is this some random kid? Who was this Mexican kid who was trying to fight you because he said you were lazy, you were having your breakfast before getting started? It was at Cruise America. So he was one of your coworkers. Was he a boss or a manager, or he one of these people who decided that he was going to try to manage you even though it wasn't his place? I don't get it. You getting tired, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
Maybe go to bed soon. It's getting late. Look at time. It's midnight. Are you making enough sleep time? You're home.
I think I should.
Yeah, but did he have the authority to tell you to clock out? I didn't want to beat his ass and give it. No, was he any kind of manager? Did he have any kind of jurisdiction or authority to tell you to punch out? I mean, his behavior is inappropriate, but did he have any seniority? Like some coworker telling you to punch out, go fuck yourself. And that's what I get in trouble with that. Coworkers want to micromanage me. I tell them flat out, fuck you. And that's when we got to ruin him now. That's, oh, you vape. They don't like that. No. It's people like this who have no authority, who want to try to micromanage me. When I tell them to go fuck themselves, yeah, and it's like, let's destroy him. And the managers take their side. This is basically the story of my life. Not a fucking seatbelt. You still don't tell us if this was like any kind of manager or just some random coworker.
Who was this person?
Because if he wasn't a manager and you punched out early, the real manager would say, why'd you punch out early? Why'd you leave? What happened?
And did you punch in and eat your breakfast? What was happening?
All right, I can't. Yeah, but was he your supervisor? Did he have any authority to tell you to punch out? Love is a rose, so you better not pick it. Only grows when it's on the vine. Handful of thorns, and you know you'll miss it. Lose your love when you say the word mine. Yes. Linda Ronstadt turns 80 today. Happy birthday, Miss Ronstadt. Just my partner is a weird word. I don't consider coworkers partners. I can't really. What's a partner? Yeah, if I had been there, here's what would happen. The guy would want to fight me. Before I could even respond, the boss would come up and say, hey, something's wrong here. I hear commotion. Oh, see, it's your fault. That's what happened at that last auto parts fucking job. Oh, my God. The behemoth wanted to break. I've told you the story. He wanted to break my jaw. He threatens me in front of everybody. Before I even process it, the boss starts screaming at me. They fired me a week later for tardiness from 3 months earlier. It was such bullshit. We can end this soon if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of winding down.
Anyway. Yeah, it's winding down. I know, like 10, 12 minutes. 12 midnight or hour and a half. And are you able to sleep?
You know, I'm not going to stay that long. I might go up now. You can take this.
All right. You have water upstairs.
I do.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
This is kind of loosen me up. Maybe should I take I probably should take my phone upstairs and stream me cleaner room? Probably I shouldn't do it, but should I probably try to get something done? I just feel so overwhelmed. Yes. All right. We're winding down. I don't know what just happened there. I wasn't ending it yet. The thing turned black and I got one of those, wheel of death loop things. I don't know what just happened there. Maybe they want me to end. Maybe they don't want me to communicate with you guys anymore. Christy has gone to bed and they're afraid of what I might say or do in his absence. That was weird. Am I still on? That was weird. I thought I lost internet connection, but gone? That was weird. I thought I lost internet connection, but something about devices not being connected. I don't know. I don't know if I'm here or not. Yes, it's a sign. I agree. Maybe. The session was all right. It wasn't that great. I'm supposed to see him again on Friday. Maybe I'll do a 2-1. It was kind of a meh session. Plus, there's stuff. I wouldn't mind sharing it. There's things I mentioned that you wouldn't know, so I'd have to like explain what they were, other stories and shit. So I'm not sure if like it would make sense if I uploaded today's session, the session I had earlier. Might not make sense to you. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. That was weird. Unless this mic is so finicky, or the not the mic, but the actual cord USB is so finicky that just touching it causes everything to disconnect. It's fucked up. But the actual cord USB is so finicky. Well, that's okay. I might not be on in 25 minutes. I just put that there for the hell of it. I don't expect anyone to come on, but because I'm running out of things. I needed a catharsis, and I always delay. I want to finish my beer. I don't want to get back to some kind of work, but I should do something tonight or finish throwing shit out around that. I got to do something. But the beer helps. It makes me I'm a little looser, a little less anxious. Let's have some beer here. And where's my buddy Horse? Is he still here? I wanted to say to Horse, I've done everything I know to try and change your mind. And I think it's gonna take you a long, long time. Yes, I've done everything I know, Horse, to try and make you mine. And I think I'm gonna love you for a long, long time. That was always my favorite Linda Ronstadt song. Yeah. Think I'm gonna miss you for a long, long time. 'Cause I've done everything I know. Try and change your mind. I think I'm gonna love you, Horse, for a long, long time. You still love me, Horse? Or I guess you're right, Horse got upset. It's very easy for me to alienate people. If they really loved me, they wouldn't be that upset. Like my brother and I get into tiffs, we get back together. Is it really that they never liked me to begin with? And once they get, they can only fake it so long. When they get a little agitated, the true hatred comes out. Thank you. It's, like I said, it's in honor of the birthday girl. Happy 80th, Linda Ronstadt. Well, did you at least hear my singing? Even if it didn't mean anything to you, I sang you a Linda Ronstadt song that means a lot to me. I sang it for you. That should count for something, Horse. That should show something, Horse. Or maybe it doesn't. Don't patronize me. It was lovely. You're challenging me. I'm joking. Okay, winding down. I'm gonna finish my beer. Plus, I don't want to get to. What I gotta do? It's like, oh my god. I charge my vape. I am a bit calmer. I started the stream hour and a half ago, very anxious. I'm still anxious and overwhelmed, but this is a good distraction. It's part of the reason why I stream. It's a good distraction. I mean, can't keep it going forever. Eventually, you run out of stuff to say, and you reach that point. But it's like I'm trying to but it's good. It's good catharsis. Good to talk. Good to get my mind off my existence, just albeit briefly. Thank you, and of course to wish Linda Ronstadt a happy 80th birthday. Oh, apparently I'm not the only one. I found this. Hold on. Help us wish Linda Ronstadt a happy 80th. Happy birthday. Here's what she looked like in her prime. Cute Becky tier. Hi, tier Becky. And this picture here is later, but it's not. This is probably taken when she was in her 50s. So here she is in her 20s. Here she is in her 50s. Today she's 80. I think she's senile, but we're going to say happy birthday to Miss Linda Ronstadt. The pen gun? What's the pen gun? Oh, you're talking to horse. So in other words, you're upset with other people and you want to transfer or project that onto me. Now, horse, that's called projection. Horse, you're making me your scapegoat. Actually, I did tell the shrink about this interesting article I found about, maybe I'll share it about how often in these families, the neurodivergent person, they're not necessarily wrong, but they become the scapegoat. So daddy or the track and field star brother, whoever, they might be wrong, but they're more apt to be believed. Even if the Spurg is correct, he's got to prove his correctness, and even then he's dismissed. That basically just summarizes my family dynamic, and maybe that carried over into workplaces and other social environments. It's all right, Horse. You can share your stories. We'll listen. Well, if I get denied Gibbs, you can support me. I can move to Michigan. We can live together, be roommates. I wish the best for you. How are you going to help me? You waited. So you were trying to lure me in. So you were looking for an excuse to go crazy on me. It was your plan all along. It wasn't what I did or what I said. You just needed a whipping boy. Story of my life. You normies do that all the time. You needed a whipping boy because of your bad day you had today. But you made me laugh with the whole getting fired on the day of your grandmother's funeral. That makes me smile. Yeah. It is a waste, but again, it's an escape. OBS, I've never learned how to use that. Open Broadcasting System or OBS. It's a software. You can stream. Somehow you can download OBS on your computer and link it. I don't know how to link it to your YouTube and stream through OBS while putting it on YouTube. I never learned it. Dumb used to do that. He was going to teach me. I had to go visit him. He had forgotten how to even log into the damn thing. So I think he just didn't want to show me. I was a burden to him. Actually, let me charge my vape. I still have some beer to drink. I'll be back. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll go a little bit longer because I need my distraction. Unless you want to end it now. Just give me where is it? At this point, it's about finishing up the beer. Oh, which I still got plenty of beer. Took my brother's beer. I need a new vape. I'll wind this down, but anything of import, anything happening here. Flies buzzing around me. It's not like a whole bunch of flies. It's like the same 2 or 3 flies. Jesus Christ. One of these days, if I get out of this house and get a neat bucks or just have a shit job in a nicer place and I'm established, I wouldn't mind. You guys can walk me through it and try to teach me OBS. I'd mess with it, but not now. It's like I can't focus on stock trading. I just don't have not now. I actually saw Hacker was on before around the time I was going to see my shrink. I tried streaming earlier, and then my brother came home and needed help bringing shit in, and then I forgot to shrink. I kind of but Hacker was on around that time. I said hi to him briefly, and I don't know. It's good to see him. He hadn't been streaming for a while. All right. My anxiety is still high, but it's gone down a little bit. The beer and the bullshitting and this, focusing on this helps. It really is a good, so thank you. Thank you for being with me. I'm just getting bored. I used to always love being alone by myself. Now I feel if I'm by myself, I'm a target. Or maybe I'm by myself, I'll be reminded of all the things I can't accomplish. So I'm lucky to have Bro C. I'm lucky to have people because it's like, oh my God. Well, does Hacker need a cleaned up appearance? I mean, it's not like he's CEO of some Fortune 500 company. Does Hacker have Gibbs? I don't know what he has. Is he on? What is he on? I've asked him to come on my panel, but he's very opposed to that for some reason. Does he have Gibbs? I don't know what he has. Food stamps. Oh, okay. That's good, but I mean, I don't think he's on Social Security Disability, is he? SSI, SSDI. Wait, so he's on Social Security? He's actually on SSDI? I should ask him next time if he's ever on. What was his disability? But is he 50 or he's going to be 50? They say when you're over 50, it gets easier. Your chances are better over the age of 50 to get on Social Security. He is 50 or he'll be 50 soon, 49 going on 50, something like that. Does he? I don't know. Well, I wish he'd come on and tell me. Well, he's mentally ill, so am I. I want neat bucks. Damn it. You see how fucked up I am? Just ask Horse. Unless he's on some kind of temporary disability or something. Temporary disability isn't the same as Social Security disability. If he's getting some kind of state temporary leave, that's nice, but that's temporary neat bucks. That's not the same as permanent Social Security disability. Oh, by the way, yeah, I don't know what that means. Like I tell you, I was on TDI, it ran out. I'm trying to get on SSDI or SSI. I spell it out. when people talk in vague terms, you got to wonder, why aren't they just spelling it out? I'm on Social Security. I'm on State of Tennessee Disability Act, 2-month leave. Like, why do, like, Okay. Yes, I should wind it down. I was hoping I'm trying to delay. I was hoping something more interesting to come up. Does Horse, do you want to tell us about your day at all? Type it. Why was your day so shitty? You can tell us. I will be sympathetic. I will be your shoulder to cry on. I promise. I actually want to hear about your day. See, I'm showing an interest. You think I'm mocking you or challenging you. I want to hear, why was your day so shitty that you felt the need to, I'll take it on that spurg, because I get that a lot. I can learn about human behavior, but also I want to hear your story. What happened today? Miscommunication stuff, juggling a bunch of projects, and people not being as collaborative as they said they would be. This is kind of a vague, tell me, who was the bitch? Who was the asshole? I shared that earlier. It was productive, but no matter what we do, we look, wow, lifting and lugging, we filled the dumpster. There's still a ton of shit. It's like it never ends. So productive, but I still feel defeated. That's how my day was. How was yours, Diffuzi? But Linda Ronstadt had her 80th birthday, so I had to, wish her a happy 80th. That's another thing. A lot of these places, I mean, maybe it varies state to state. If you're on temporary disability, oftentimes you can't just quit the job. You got to still be an employee. The expectation is you go back to work when your temporary disability ends. So it's unclear what Hacker will have to come on and explain himself. I'm glad you had a great day. I'm glad you enjoy watching soccer. I'm glad your girl Tori. That's great. Where are you from, Diffuzi? How old are you and where are you from? How old are you and where are you from? Do all these people really watch soccer? It just seems like. You heard I got to vent. I feel a little bit better. I'll listen. The horse had a bad day at work. Okay. You can elaborate. I think I get upset. Like I tell these other people, stop playing games. I'm not trying to challenge or it's like you don't really articulate or elaborate, but then you act like you did. I told you already. Well, you didn't really tell me much. You had a bad day at work, something about, people not collaborating well. It's very vague. Just that could be that sounds like every day at work for me, even on my good days. It sounds like a typical job for me. Probably. I want to finish my beer and delay the inevitable, because then I'll get depressed again looking around at all the shit I got to do. So I'm trying to delay the inevitable. But yeah, probably winding down. But I am serious. I want to hear about, if Horse wants to share. It sounds like he doesn't want to share. He just wants to come here and attack, but not share, which makes the Spurg sad. as with normies who have like, girlfriends or wives, they pretend they're your friend and they'll just block you or ban you like that. I've been through this before. I've had my heart broken, so I know what it's like. And Diffusi got oddly silent. Maybe I'll pull up that article right quick. Well, I mean, if I say, how are you doing? If I say, how are you? How are you guys doing? And Horse says, listen, I had a bad day. Can I share my experience? I would say, sure. I would say, sure. I think I'd say, sure. How you doing, Horse? You're not in the bath for once. What's up?
Oh, this doesn't look like my bath?
No, it does not. Is your skin usually that blue color? I mean,
yeah, this is my my chest. How are you? How's your evening?
I've spoken enough about myself at length. Why don't you tell me how you are?
Oh, we've all heard in chat. We've all had the experience of the evening. No, I'm fine now. I think honestly, having a few beers, I think got me a little excitable. And so I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go into a little bit of a back and forth. And I wasn't trying to minimize your experiences. So if I did that, I apologize. So if it came across that way, I apologize. But I did want to, as I often do, try to dispel this notion that I wake up and it's a Disney movie every day. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's. Here's what I think. Well, please don't be upset. I think you assume we feel that way. I'm saying your life is a regular movie. Our lives are horror movies. So you're going to one extreme, like looking up. We're not saying your life's a Disney movie. Thank God it's not, Friday the 13th or Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street every day. I think that's what we're trying to say. And you're misconstruing it as us saying your life is a Disney movie, which I never said.
Well, I think what the frustration I have is like, so there's this whole concept of like, I forget what the two animals are. It's like the hedgehog and the boar or something like that. And the difference between the hedgehog and the boar is that the boar sees the world in extremes and opposites, right? And the hedgehog sees the shades of gray. The hedgehog kind of sees the in-betweens of life. And so I've often lived my life, I think, more like the hedgehog, where I'm like I want to hear, I want two competing ideas to like exist in the same space at once. And I want to talk through, what that means together. And so when I say things like, hey, I had this experience where I was, let go because because my grandmother passed away. I went to her funeral and there was some sort of issue where they thought I hadn't done my due diligence to let them know I was going to be gone as long as I was. When I talk about that as an experience, it's like, yeah, that's an actual, like the same way that you describe having trauma in a general sense from the workplace shit that you've dealt with. That's like a legit experience of trauma to me, where I came back and it was like, okay, I don't have an income now because I thought I did the right thing by going to pay respects to my dead family member. And it's, maybe I'm just too sensitive. Maybe that's who I am deep down, but like, it's 10 years since that's happened. I still have nightmares and, resentments about.
Well, I guess I'm not trying to diminish your experience, but for someone like me, if that were the reason I was fired, I'd be pissed, but I've had so many more traumatic experiences that wouldn't even register. So it's almost a luxury. In a way, it's a luxury that's a trauma for you because, for me, that would be like nothing. So that's what I'm getting at. You actually have a luxurious trauma from my perspective. That's how it seems, which should be a good thing. It means that your life really isn't all that traumatic because it'd be a lot worse. But I'm not trying to diminish it, but it sounds like if that's what's eating you up, like me, nigger bitch runs me over. I tell them they do nothing. They try to get me arrested for vaping. They bury it. It just, all that eats me up. Getting fired because what? You were fired because they said you failed to inform it. You were fired because of grandma's funeral, or was that just coincidental? It was because
timeline of what happened. So my wife and I were working at the same news station at the time. This was actually the last place that we worked together. No, I take that back. We worked in Amarillo together for a little bit before we had my daughter. But my wife and I worked at the same place. We both went down for the funeral, and when we got back from the funeral, the day of, they fired my wife. They kept me on for a week, and then they fired me after a week. And they gave us both the same reasoning about how we hadn't cleared it, appropriately with the people that were going to approve it, and we absolutely had. It was the manager trying to basically get rid of both of us.
Well, how long were you away for Grandma's funeral?
I don't even remember. It was probably 4 or 5. It was probably a long weekend type thing where we were, gone from the workplace for a few days. But I just want to double back to, and I'm not offended that you're calling it a luxurious trauma. Here's where I would tweak that a little bit. The thing I think that makes it difficult for people to see eye to eye to you, and which is what I said before about having trouble being more sympathetic to your experience. I wouldn't call what other people have gone through luxurious or do any sort of comparative adjectives in terms of what it's like versus what you've been through. Just call it different. It's a different type of trauma. Do you know what I mean? And then you're still differentiating it from what you've gone through. And understandably so. I've never had the experience of nearly being run over. I've never had the experience of, standing in line and having a guy threaten to break my jaw. I've had other related types of experiences where there was clearly aggression and hostility in the room, and I had to figure out how to navigate that. But, I'm never going to say that, hey, what happened to me is just like what happened to OC. I would just say, think about it as a different type of thing.
I would say, but it's not just me versus you. Even within my own life, I've had traumas that might be debilitating for other people that don't faze me because I've had worse ones. Like I was talking about my car accident, being stranded, couldn't walk in the snow. Whenever I tell people the story, they're all like, oh my God, I wouldn't be able to handle that. And, if my life had gone differently, maybe that would be the biggest trauma of my life. But even I have traumas that seem lesser to me than other traumas I've had. And those lesser traumas might be a really big deal for someone else. If I went through in the car crash, that might be worse than being fired because of Grandma's funeral. But for me, the car crash was a major setback, but nothing that I really eats me up inside. You know what I mean? So even some of my really traumatic traumas aren't as traumatizing compared to the others. So even in my own life, I can compare one trauma versus another. So, yeah.
Here's where you and I think, have something in common.
Okay.
I have often been told that the way that I handle life, the way that I, just am in my day to day, which, you get a glimpse into with something like this, but you don't necessarily see all of it, is that I often act very Pollyanna about life. Like I don't have, a care in the world or anything. And obviously that's the furthest thing from the truth. I'm sure you've seen the videos online of here's what people think depressed people look like. And it's somebody who's real sullen or whatever. And it's here's what they actually look like. And it's Robin Williams performing in front of a crowd type thing. That's the mentality and the persona that I adopt. And I would say, when you had to deal with the shit with it, when that car wreck thing happened and I was like, oh my God, he just had the 9th thing pile on top of all the other bullshit that he's had to deal with. I felt tremendous sympathy for what you had to deal with. And it was right about the time that we were, kind of leveling up our own lives. Cause all right, we're moving up to Washington or whatever. And then it was an absolute fucking nightmare to get up here. But, my perception of you is that you're somebody who rolls with shit pretty well. Even if, I think you would probably disagree with that because what the internal struggle is. I don't see the internal struggle. I see OC, the guy who in a positive sense is able to handle a lot of bullshit that gets thrown at him. And maybe in a negative sense, kind of acts sometimes like nothing in life is serious. And what's the big fucking deal about anything? So I do think you and I have that in common a little bit. Despite the differing life experiences, that's something that I notice about you and I that I just wanted to point out.
Do you feel you're masking a depression underneath, or when you talked about the Pollyanna thing? I mean, do you feel you're masking some kind of depression, or?
It's interesting. It's not. I think at times it is like a depression. I think at times it is. There's absolutely truth to the maxim of you get everything you need in life and you're set, and then you think you're good, but you know, the midlife kind of stuff creeps in. I do think in a general sense, like when you hit, it's been interesting because I was always like the type of, you know, age is just a number. When I hit 40, that's no big deal. And it has been a completely different experience turning 40 over the last year. A lot of it has been because of the upheaval with our living situation. I had to completely switch jobs, completely switch regions of the country. And so, you know, you think in your head, like, yeah, I think I could probably handle that. And there's on paper, all the pieces of this line up, and it's like, yeah, this is a huge upgrade in terms of our life situation. But then you get into the actual day-to-day of it, and it's like, okay, but that didn't really get rid of the core, you know, anxiety and cortisol and at times depression about the way life is. I don't know if that's, at times I think I try to like see that as a positive thing because it is almost like an engine to get me to go do other shit, to get me to try other things. But at other times it's like it would be really nice to just be able to relax and, you know, enjoy the fruits of your, you know, of your life and of your labor. So yeah, I really, I know it sounds like a bunch of bullshit when I tell you guys like it's not all it's cracked up to be, but if you're the type of person who is naturally, you know, ruminating about things, or you're anxious about life, getting all the stuff you're supposed to in terms of life is not going to fix that for you. There's other work you have to do, I think, to mitigate that shit.
Okay, I think the argument is some of us don't even have the ability to get that thing, whether it would solve our problems or not. We don't even have that. You know,
Sure.
Right. So I think people might look at you and say, okay, yeah, your life's not great, but at least you have the ability to do so. Whereas we don't even have the ability, right? We can't even put that theory to the test. I think that's the counter argument. But
That's fair. I respect that POV, which is why I like engaging with a lot of you guys, because I don't, contrary to what you may think about yourself, I don't necessarily think much of any of you are like beyond hope in terms of, you know, grabbing something out of life that just makes you go, okay, well, I gave it my best and, you know, I got what I got. But I also understand and have experienced, even just, you know, despite my relative success, that life doesn't always work out that way. It doesn't matter how hard you try. If circumstances aren't what they need to be, then you're not gonna get to where you want to go. I've had the experience of, you know, in brief moments of gratitude, I think realizing that the whole, you know, even though you didn't expect to be here specifically, this is a good place that you got to because all of your efforts led to this point. But it can be really, really challenging, and it's compounded by the way the world is generally, the way everything is more fucking expensive. I've talked about, you know, what a, like, and again, it sounds like, you know, what are you complaining about? But buying real estate in a market like this, holy shit, dude! Like, there would have been no way to do it without A, having owned the home in Texas before, and B, having the, you know, generous support of my own family and my in-laws primarily. That I'm not going to discount what support systems like that do for you. They absolutely like help get you over the finish line with shit like this. So yeah, I definitely respect what you're saying about, like, you know, there are a lot of guys that even if they may eventually find a way to what those tools are, they don't have the tools right now to figure out how to get there. So I'm just, you know, I like to try to provide some perspective on a time when I felt similarly lost, even though it was a long time ago, and see if any of that applies, even though I realize a lot of it doesn't, because it's a completely different world versus, you know, 20 or 30 years ago when I was having those same sorts of feelings.
now you mentioned you've had some beers. Can I ask how many beers did you drink tonight?
Let's see. My wife and I just kind of share them, so I don't know, probably 3 or 4. It's not a lot.
Is that a lot for you? You don't usually have that many beers, or?
I mean, it's interesting. We've been, you're seeing the outdoor patio. This is the extent of our outdoor living space area. We've been really hanging out in this space a lot more, and we just tend to naturally, when we're outside and hanging out, we tend to drink. And actually, I've been it's funny that you were mentioning like, oh yeah, she doesn't let you go live from the house. I almost felt like overtly defiant because of it. And I was like, all right, well, we're going live from the house. So I've done 2 lives in the past week. I did one today. And my daughter was mostly hanging out with me and playing some games and shit. So it's just nice to like congregate out here. And we have been drinking more, I would say. So I got to keep an eye on that because, you know, my father was, I mean, he's still really technically to this day, he's almost 75. I would say he's still a functioning alcoholic. Like every single night, it's like from 5 p.m. till he passes out around 9. That's his sort of, you know, that's his thing that he does. And so I have to, then I absolutely have developed that same sort of addictive personality with all types of shit. So I have to be careful with stuff like that. But it's nice when you can just kind of hang out and, you know, just let the day slip away. I don't come home from work early every day. And yesterday we got home I had a meeting in Tacoma. I don't know if you're familiar with that city, but I had a meeting over there. We didn't get home till 6:45. So, I mean, there are nights when I've got some obligations that take me past a normal work day. And yeah, there are days when, because no one's really checking up on me, it's like, all right, I'm going to finish the day at home because I don't like, there's no reason why I couldn't do what I'm doing here in the office at home. So yeah, a job like this affords you that kind of freedom. It's like the whole, you know, you get handed a plate of dinner and your parents say, I don't care how you eat your vegetables, just finish them. I don't care if you finish them in the next 5 minutes or in the next half an hour, but you need to finish them. That's kind of how my job is. It's like you've got projects, you've got your vegetables that you need to eat. I have my, you know, management role over everything. And then as long as things are getting done according to a certain schedule, nobody's checking up on me. It's that type of job.
Well, I'm happy for you. I think we don't all have that luxury in life. That's what I'm talking about, luxuries. I don't mean that as an insult. I'd love to have your life. You know, I remember Howard Stern was interviewing, you know, Sonny and Cher, you know, Cher, and you know, Greg Allman, you know, and Howard Stern asked, did you have a hard life or an easy life growing up? And you know, Greg Allman, Cher's son, was like, well, what do you think? And Howard Stern was like, I'm assuming you had an easy life because I would love to be Cher's kid. I'd love to. So it's not. I'm not knocking you for it. I would love. Sure. I just say, you know, at least Cher and Greg Allman's kid could acknowledge, yeah, I came from privilege. And then he was interviewing. He was interviewing Sean Lennon, you know, the son of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Mm-hmm. And Sean, well, I have to make a living. And you know, Howard Stern's like, well, yeah, but you're John Lennon's son, and you live in a penthouse mansion. So it's sort of like some people try to downplay the blessings they have. I'm not trying to knock your blessings. I'm saying, you know.
Oh yeah, I know the type. There's a funny clip online from a few years ago. I'm sure you're familiar with David Beckham and Victoria Beckham over in England. It was their like documentary show or series or something. And Victoria's on the couch talking about how, you know, we didn't even really drive a nice car that was that nice to school. My dad, you know, he didn't have the nicest things growing up. And David Beckham leans his head in, like mid brushing his teeth. And he's like, what car did your dad drive? And Victoria's like, I'm not going to tell him. And he's like, what car did your dad, like totally calling her out on it. And she won't say. And he's finally like, a Rolls Royce. Like, come on. Let's not act like there are all sorts of celebrities and all sorts of people who do all kinds of revisionist history about the life they led before. You know, it's like people are talking about Jeff Bezos. It's like, oh, you go watch videos of Jeff Bezos, and he was this dorky weirdo who, like, his desk was a fucking like door that he pulled off the hinges or whatever. And it's like Jeff Bezos was worth millions of dollars when he started Amazon. There are fleetingly small examples of these like absolutely true rags to riches stories. They just don't exist anymore. It's everybody who's in the position that they were in. Everybody who's in the position they're in now was in a smaller version of that position at a certain point in life. And I don't think I'm any different. I had a good support system growing up. My family we weren't, you know, rich. We weren't lower class, but we were middle class enough to where we took vacations. I had financial help to go to college. I had all kinds of privileges that, you know, if I overcame anything, it was a lot of, you know, self-discovery in a collegiate environment and just kind of getting over my own hangups and anxieties and being willing to try a bunch of shit and, face rejection sometimes from it. And so over time, you stack up enough wins, no matter what it's due to, whether the way I look, the way I behave, the money that I had in my account. And over time, it got to where it's like, okay, I can stack some of these bigger wins and I can get to a place where, I can put together some sort of a nuclear family. I can work a job that, where I'm no longer hourly, I'm no longer expected to clock in. And if I'm there at 9:01, I get bitched at. Like I just want to indicate, like, it didn't necessarily happen overnight. It wasn't an overnight thing. Like I started out my career when I graduated college and we moved up to the Dakotas. Like I was making $5.25 an hour. It was right when they last changed minimum wage to $7.25. It was right when I started my career in news. So, I mean, I've had some examples and some time over which I've had to struggle a little bit, but there was never a universe in which I wasn't going to find at least some measure of success because of the support system I had.
Right. I think some people feel that you kind of trivial, or you think we're trivializing your struggle when we're acknowledging, yes, like Bezos struggled too, but like he said, he was a millionaire when he started Amazon. So yes, he worked hard, he struggled, but he was at a position that, most people aren't. So it's where we are to begin with. And yes, you got to struggle, but the struggle you go through, like me, I'm struggling. Maybe something good will come of this, but it won't be like, your struggle, you're here, your struggle, and you get you there. I'm here, my struggles get me here. So maybe some good comes out of struggling, but we can't compare. It becomes like apples and oranges with the luxury of what did I call it? The luxury of the trauma or whatever it was.
Yeah. I think you called it a luxurious trauma, which
luxurious trauma.
Interesting way to describe something. Yeah, I guess I will often put myself in, your position, in the position of other guys that I talk to on this subreddit, because I do think, I think you mentioned before being like an empath, being an empathetic person.
It was Chris Dubbs who brought that up. And I said, I agree, but I didn't want to say that because I knew the backlash I'd get, and I did. Dubbs mentioned that, so it's good when other people see it. But you think I'm an empath? You think you're an empath? Go ahead. Continue.
Well, I think, whether you are or not, I mean, I definitely see elements of it. And I think there's parts of me too that are like, just by, like, everyone's like, oh, you should put yourself in other people's shoes. It's like, yeah, I do that like by default, just as a, thought exercise, as a curiosity of like, and I'll do it like every single time there's some sort of major life event or some change. And it's like, okay, well, how would I handle this curveball? How would I handle getting both my legs broken and, nearly dying on the side of the road in the New Jersey winter? Like that there's a lot of different, like, thoughts in my head about what I would do in that type of situation. And I think what concerns me, or maybe even confuses me a little bit in the way in which that we're different, is that I would, or maybe I'm wrong about this, I would constantly be catastrophizing about how bad your situation could get, to the point where it's like, I don't know that I'd be able to stand still. Do you know what I mean? Like I worry in a detached sense, in a parasocial sense, about what's going to happen to you guys. Like I don't want to see, there's probably people in your audience that are like, oh yeah, it'd be pretty funny to see what actually happens if these two guys had to, be homeless for a time or something. Like, and I don't want that. I don't think that I think that you are, if you have certain quirks or certain like eccentricities or whatever, that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person to the point where you should struggle and not have a home. Like I don't know. I'm just rambling, but that's no, that I have in my head is like, what would I do in that scenario?
I agree with you, Horse, and maybe you are empathetic because you see the mask, but that's what I was trying to tell you. Like before I came on, I was like you, I was all worried and fretted, and this is kind of like an escape. I come on here as some like mental distraction. So what you're describing is fairly accurate, but I guess while you can empathize, you find it hard to believe that I'm like that offline. You think what you see here is the way I am all the time, because this is like I go into streaming mode as an escape from what you're describing, which is my reality.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, are you a person who is normally, like, if it's you and Brosi in the room, are you talking at the same intensity and the same, speed that you are on the stream? Do you feel like it's because the camera's on, there's a bit of a performative aspect to it, or like, is this how you are in real life when you guys are interacting off camera?
Well, this is kind of different than real life. I mean, act here isn't how I would act, at a job. When I'm with my brother, it depends. We talk. It's like, you can't compare. Like the way I always say, the way I act, like my shrink would say, I saw you get angry with your mother. The way I act with my mother, someone I've known in my life, is different than the way I'd act with a random stranger versus the way I'd act. So it all depends. And this is sort of, I don't want to say performative. I want to say more the nature of the. Are you still there? Are you frozen? It's like you're freezing.
I might be frozen.
That's all right.
Here, I'm going to move around so you can actually.
The nature of the beast is this is a good distraction from my daily life. Right now, I'm just thinking about having my beer and talking to you people. You guys are a nice distraction from going back to what you accurately described, which is my normal life most of the time, the worrying, the fretting, all that.
Yeah. Well, and is it fair to say it's no coincidence that as the stress of this shit ramps up, you feel like streaming more and being online more?
Yes, that's what I even said. Yes, I've been streaming more and more as a distraction technique. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought I said that, but yes.
I may have misinterpreted the way in which you said it, but that's good because then we talk about it and we come to an agreement, and that's how communication should work, and hopefully will continue to work. But holy shit, I have my own troubles getting people in my own life, especially in my professional life, to see the same methodology or philosophy. Yeah, that's the long and the short of what happened to me today. The best way to explain it, OC, is the nature of this type of job is that it is like an 11 out of 10 in terms of just needing to be socially on and like able to command a table of 12 people, let's say, and get them all interested in a proposal, or command them in a sense of persuading them that some sort of idea or project or proposal that we've already discussed is actually a really bad fucking idea from a marketing perspective, and so this is why we shouldn't do it. So there's a lot of it is very distinct in the way in which, like, it's the type of labor it is, I would say, is like mental and emotional labor versus something that's more backbreaking, or even something like what Bro C does, where you have to kind of follow a routine. You have to produce, tangible things every single day. You have to interface with customers. Like, I think, obviously, I'm not saying that those two are the same thing, because one job has, one sort of salary and benefits attached to it, and the other job has another sort of salary and benefits attached to it. It's just it's not easy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. There are days that I wake up and there is a little bit of anxiety and panic in the sense of like needing to be on with everybody for, a 6 or 7 or 8 hour period. That can be a little bit challenging. But then once I'm actually in the flow of things, it can be very different. It's like, oh, no, you actually do know how to do this. Like, you interviewed to get a job up here. They thought you knew what the fuck you were talking about. So just keep acting like you know what the fuck you're talking about. And then eventually, good things will happen. So, but it can be challenging. I definitely am running into some issues, especially with just personalities at this job.
You plan to be working here for the next 10, 20 years? Or you think you have to find another job at some point? Or
I really don't know. I think ideally I would remain as a state employee. I'm technically considered a state employee. So whether that's for, a collegiate institution that receives funding from the state, or let's say like a credit union that only offers services to state workers, or I mean, you can go through and look. There's a vast. Washington is a state that I think believes in the positive impact and power of effective governance. I would say that there's obviously going to be bloat and money spent that probably shouldn't be, and money diverted in places where it's not being spent effectively. But the way that I see it up here is like, it is very similar to a European country in the way that like money is attached to education at a much, much greater level than it was in Texas. It's attached to public infrastructure up here. There's like hardly any roads with potholes in this whole community because the tax revenue up here is so, like, the GDP per capita per person in the state is so high. You can look it up. It's over $100,000 per person. And all of that money is not going into, corporate tax breaks for organizations that headquarter here, like Starbucks or, other big economic drivers. It's money that's put back into social services for the state. So we really do love it up here. It makes sense why it's so expensive to live here, because there's a real sense of community in the way in which money is spent. And so I would love to stay at this job in particular for as long as I can. There's one jump up I could make in terms of positions if my boss retires, which would probably be in the next 10 to 15 years. But if I don't stay at the college, I would absolutely stay as much as possible in the state infrastructure, because that retains my pension. The pension is like the big ace in the hole that made my ears perk up when I first heard about it. And it was like, okay, well, I want that. Nobody does state pensions anymore. I mean, most liberal states don't do state pensions anymore. So Washington is a big outlier in that it provides state employees with a pension, and it doesn't have a state income tax. You pay out the ass for the sales tax, and I feel it every time I buy anything, but I'm not getting an additional chunk of my paycheck taken out every month. So there's that benefit too. I really do think it's a good, solid place to live if you can find a job that pays you the type of money that I was able to get up here. And that may not always be a given, even at a place like this.
Okay. I'm glad you made the move, and I'm glad you like it. And cool.
Yeah, we've really, we've settled in. I think I have a little bit of, lingering. I think I'm honestly like my father in a lot of ways. My father had similar sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, but just a similar kind of listlessness in his 40s that is kind of unexplained, because he and I had kids at the same exact age in life. He ended up having 3 between 2 marriages. But when he had me, he was the same age as when I had my daughter, and my mom was the same way. They were the same age. So right about this time of life, when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my brother was probably 5 at the time. He had a lot of unexplained, like, just something ain't right. And so I remember at the time I don't know if he's still on it or not, but I think he got on Wellbutrin at the time. I remember seeing it on his nightstand when I was in high school, and I would go into his room to get like money for lunch or something like that. It kind of, mellowed him out a little bit. And I think on top of that, it was like, I mean, he drank before he ever took an antidepressant. It was like the combination of those two things sort of, I hate to use the word neutered, but it kind of, put him in a state of like not really worrying and being able to do the day to day. And I don't know that that's the right path for me, but I've got to figure out a way to just be able to handle things day to day and not have it be as anxiety inducing. And I think part of that, my wife is still looking for a job. If she's able to get a job, paying even half of what I make up here, we're in a totally different financial position, right? As of right now, I know it sounds unbelievable with a 6-figure income, but we are roughly paycheck to paycheck with the mortgage and with the utilities and everything like that, things that my daughter needs. The HOA here is pretty exorbitant, and the car insurance rates on top of that are pretty nuts. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room in terms of like saving money or, putting money into the house. There's things we want to do with the house already that we're noticing. But if she can get a good full-time job, especially as my daughter's getting older and she can be a little more independent, then that's gonna help us out a lot. And that's a benefit. That's a privilege that I have. I live in a household with a whole other separate person. Whether she's female or male, she can go work a job and she can bring an income in. And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that situation. So I definitely acknowledge that as well.
Now, your parents, it was your father's second marriage. Is that correct? When your parents were, it was your mother's first, or?
No, it was my mother's second as well. My mom and dad have followed interesting parallel pathways in life that just tended to intersect at one point. So my mom and dad both had marriages prior to, they got married in 1983, I believe. It was 2 years before I was born. My dad's marriage was much longer. They ended up having my half sister, and then they split up. My mom's marriage, from what I understand, it was like less than a year. She was married for less than a year, big mistake, and just did not work out. And then her and my dad they met at Kroger, actually. My mom was working kind of a secretarial job, and my dad was sort of just rising through the ranks at the time. He would have been in his late 20s. I think they got married right after they had turned 30 and then had me at 32. And then they had my brother and I, almost got divorced in the mid 90s. And then worked it out in therapy, stayed together for another 12 years. And then I believe they divorced in 2009. So it was it was a year after I graduated college and had already moved away. My mom ended up with, she had reconnected with her original high school boyfriend from before she ever knew my dad. And my dad ended up with a woman who is about 15 years younger than him, who worked underneath him at Kroger. And then he retired, and I believe she still works there.
So I'm sorry, your half sister is younger from your father's second marriage, is what you're saying?
My half sister's from my father's first marriage.
First marriage, okay.
And then I'm from his second marriage. My brother and I are from his second marriage.
Second marriage. Your father's on his third marriage?
Correct. Both my mother and my father are on their third marriages.
So it was the second for both of them. It was their second. Okay, so you only have one other half sibling. That would be your sister.
Correct.
Other than your sister from your father's first, it was you and your brother from their second. No other siblings. Okay, you told me once, but I forget. Okay.
Well, yeah, and it's a little bit, and it's weird. I mean, I didn't have a good relationship with my half sister because once my dad divorced her mom went and married a very, very wealthy Orthodox Jew, and so when she got married to him, she converted to Judaism. And of course, her daughter was going to convert. And so her daughter converted, my half sister converted to Judaism as well. And I don't know if it was because of the religious component or not, but it created such a rift in terms of my father having any sort of access to his biological daughter. He like all the way up until I remember when she got married, this was probably over 20 years ago now. My mom almost made a scene at my half sister's wedding because they refused to let my father have any sort of involvement in terms of walking my half sister down the aisle or, being involved in some sort of form or fashion with her stepfather in terms of, giving her away, that type of thing. They refused to let my dad even be seen in the same environment with my half sister because to them, it was like, well, he was just the sperm donor. And then I moved on and I married a wealthy Jewish guy. And, this was all a mistake. Everything that happened beforehand is a mistake. And I'm sure in her own mind, she had convinced herself that her daughter was born of, her husband that she married after she divorced my dad. So I've never had a good relationship. I have seen her, in maybe 5-6 year intervals I think she has 4 kids now. When I had my daughter, I don't recall any sort of outreach in terms of, connecting or anything like that. It just, they absolutely were able to poison my half sister and get her to where she just wanted nothing to do with the other parts of her family. And so it was pretty disappointing, but, yeah, that's how messy this shit can get.
I'm sorry. How old is your half sister roughly?
She's, I want to say she was born in 82. So she's probably about 2 or 3 years older than me. She's probably 42, 43.
Okay. So neither of their first marriages, your mother and your father, those are very short first marriages?
My mother's was extremely short, and I want to say my father's was probably no more than 2 years or so.
Okay. Those were the starter marriages. But in your case, you've only been married once and you're still together with your wife, right?
That's correct. Yeah. And my wife, I mean, her parents have been married for 46 years now, I want to say. Because they had, it's longer than that actually, because I think they married in the late 70s and my wife was born in 1980. So so yeah, so we come from two very different backgrounds in terms of what we saw modeled for us as kids.
Okay. And I ask, this is too personal, but is your marriage okay? Or you, like you mentioned, there's a lot of your father in you. Do you think you might have to go to marriage counseling with your wife the way your parents did at one point? Or
I really don't know. I wouldn't make any sort of predictions about that, because the way that I view marriage counseling is more like I'm very pro therapy. That's probably the most blue pilled thing you'll hear about me, which is why I absolutely love watching your shrink sessions, because it's like watching an HBO show on therapy, and that is like designed as a comedy. So I tend to believe pretty extensively in the power of like a third party to just like knock some sense into you and be like, hey, the way that you're processing this thing internally is like actually really not reality. Like I feel like I get a lot of value out of that type of relationship. And so, in a marriage, I mean, it's compounded significantly because you have two different people who have two versions inside their own head of what's going on and what the marriage is like and what different aspects of the marriage are like. And I'm not going to say over 18 years now, 10 years married, 18 years together, that we haven't had, full on major disagreements that we've either had to come to some kind of resolution on, or just let lie and say, we're not going to agree on this. And there's different aspects of marriage where you discover that kind of stuff together. So I would, like, we've never, ever had the, I want a divorce, conversation, whether it was heated or whether there was something actually substantial that would lead us to go, okay, well, this isn't working. Like, we've never had that conversation. I do believe, like, once you start talking like that, then you've lost the plot a little bit, and now you've got it in your spouse's head that it's even a consideration. And before you ever get to that point, you should probably go talk to a professional who can at least tell you, like, hey, the incompatibility that you guys are dealing with is so bad that it could wreck the marriage, or it's something that you can easily work through together. You're just not processing it in the right ways because of, because of past trauma that you've dealt with. Like, my wife and I have whole fucking lives before we ever met each other. I was in, two long-term relationships that were several years long. She was in her own types of relationships, and we have different understandings about what conflict means. And sometimes, like, that can lead to problems, but we're both, emotionally regulated enough people to realize that, like, we have to come back together and we have to figure out, like, what to do in order to keep moving forward, especially with a kid. Like, we've had one instance where a disagreement that we had spilled out and my daughter heard it, and it actually, like, emotionally bothered her. And that's the moment where you're like, okay, like, we fucked up. Like, it doesn't matter what the genesis of the problem was. We both fucked up because we've now modeled this for our kid. Who knows if 10 years down the line, she's not going to go, man, I remember when they had that fight. Now I'm looking for a boyfriend, and I'm going to, like, model that type of behavior. So, and it's if it's one instance, whatever, like, we shouldn't go nuts about it. But if you develop a pattern of things like that, like, I have all sorts of memories from the mid 90s. I was probably 11 or 12 years old of my mom and dad. Absolutely. I thought they were going to kill each other because it was just, like, so acrimonious. And part of it was because my father had a brief affair, and that didn't help things. But the other part of it was that they just were not aligned on a lot of different issues. And my dad is he's a person that struggles mightily with communication to this day. My mom is the opposite. She's me. Like, I'm basically like my mother. My mother is the Pollyanna. Everything's going to be fine, and we're all going to talk about our feelings, and we're all going to discover things about each other. And when things don't work out in spite of that, that's when it's like she breaks down and is like, I don't know what to do. There's no solution to be found type stuff. And, in my own moments, if I'm really emotional or upset about something, or if my mom and I are having a disagreement, I've, like, exploited that before, and, to my own shame, and made her feel even worse because she's like, I absolutely can't stand my own son being so upset with me. Like, it's really complicated, these types of family dynamics. So yeah, I don't anticipate ever getting a divorce. That's not something that I will often process conflict in my marriage of like, okay, how quickly can we solve it? Is this something that is going to take a few days for us to be apart from each other, or is it something that we actually need to talk through? And it's worked out for the most part, I think. And have to have it work out at least to some degree when you have a kid. It's the stakes are too high.
Okay. And you said you believe in therapy. You're a big fan of therapy. You think talking out problems is a good thing. I want to ask you, sort of just your observation. Do you think I'm getting anything of value from my shrink? Is it because if yes, okay. If not, is it because he's a hack, or because I'm not giving him the ability to, I'm not being cooperative? Because you mentioned the shrink sessions.
Yeah.
You said it's more like a comedy to you. What your take, if you believe in therapy, but you see my therapy as comedic humor, you think it's a waste of time, or I'm the one being defiant or difficult?
No, I don't. I just think you and your therapist do not agree on the fundamental premise of you being so intellectually apart from the rest of the world that there's no hope. I think he does not necessarily agree with that premise. I just question sometimes if he's like kind of thrown the book out a little bit and he's not really following best practices, and he's just sort of arguing with you like a frustrated uncle type relationship. Like I that's what makes me laugh, is I feel like a long time ago he just said like, fuck the American Psychology Manual, and like, I'm just going to pull the gloves off and I'm going to see if this works with this guy. And I don't think it's that I don't think it's that you're being more defiant than you normally are in your day-to-day or in interactions like with other people in these chats or in these panels or whatever. I just think that what he's trying to do is like shake something out of you by acting almost like the opposite of a therapist, like the anti-therapist. Because if he goes into the session and is like, everything out of your mouth he validates and is like, yeah, that's so explain to me why you think that. Like, you guys are past that. He's already gathered all that information, because you said you've been going to him for years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think he probably is at that place now. It's not that he doesn't care about you or that he's given up on the concept of treatment. I think he's probably just realized that he's exhausted his options in terms of like the clinical approach. And now it's, well, this guy's, in his mid 40s, he's clearly like, he's had trouble just getting momentum in life. So maybe this is the type of thing that will get him to actually find some momentum. If I almost kind of like, box him verbally on our sessions. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I can tell you that it's hilarious, because it's not just me that thinks it's funny. There's all sorts of folks in the chat that are like, you put it on and it's like, I don't even watch sometimes. I just put it on in the background and I can hear his exasperation at different points and I just start cracking up. But I don't know. You tell me. Do you think that approach can help at all, or you've seen all sorts of his whole grab bag of tricks over the years? So what do you think?
Well, I think I guess I'm hoping for some miracle. He says something that really makes sense to me, and if what you're saying is true, that he's trying the strategy, then maybe one day he'll hit upon the right thing to say that'll convince me. We haven't gotten there yet. We may never get there. That's
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess my advice, whether it's in relation to therapy or anything else for you, is like, try to chop this whole giant problem down into little problems. Like, I think moving actually is a good exercise in trying to get you to think that way, because I'm sure you've had the same experience. You look around at the whole house and you're like, I just want to like curl up. I don't even want to mess with this. Like, I don't know where to start. And like, the thing that really fucks with me with moving, and this is obviously compounded even more by having like a woman and a child in the house with you, is like, you can't even live comfortably while you're doing it. Like, you have to box everything up. you have to, and I mean, I'm sure you guys have tons of shit, but I would venture to say we probably have a substantial amount more just from accumulating between two people over the years, like in all these different places.
Oh no, I've got. No, I was saying I got all my parents' shit to contend with. Stuff that they should have dealt with. That's become my burden.
Yeah, that is true. You have mom and dad's stuff too, but it's like the way to do it is you break it down. Okay, it's not the whole house right now. It's this room, and it's not this whole room right now. It's this corner, and it's not even this whole corner right now. It's this box. And like the problem is that you can't rely on that approach every single day, because time starts dwindling.
Yes.
And you realize like, okay, I really can't even give attention to this box anymore. And that's what over many, many years of moving, we've probably moved 8 or 9 times in the past almost 20 years. It's like we have boxes that we've never opened since probably 2010, because you just get to the point where it's like, nope, time's up. Can't look through that box. So what do? Do you chuck it sight unseen, or do you go, oh shit, no, there might be that one thing in there that I would absolutely be devastated to lose. And then you do that with, roughly 80 to 90 boxes. And then it's like, oh shit, we've filled up multiple U-Haul trucks. Now what the fuck do we do? It's too late to, double back and do something different. But if you have at least a little bit of time, that's the approach to take, is like, just break it down into chunks and both of you guys tackle it together. And as much as possible, if he gets frustrated or feels like, we didn't get enough done today, try to meet him halfway and see if you guys can get to where you're both at least able to sleep at night without, being so anxious about everything.
Okay. It's good advice. Good advice.
That's my thought.
No, it sounds accurate. I can tell you what you're saying makes sense to me. You've been there. It's a lived experience. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but it sucks. I mean, we're really still not done with it. Our garage looks like, the week we moved in here, because it's every weekend I get to the weekend and I go, all right, I just had, a 40-hour week of, talking for 30 of those hours. Like, I really just want to sit down and not do anything, not do a thing I'm supposed to do or an obligation. And then over months and months of time, it piles up and it's like, all right, when are we going to do anything with this garage? Like, it's just sitting there with a bunch of boxes in it right now.
Right. No, it makes sense. Like why I'm streaming right now, I'm streaming a lot more than normal as all distraction technique rather than have to deal with that. Yes, it ties in.
Yep. But I think you guys are, I mean, it's going to be whatever it is, right? You're going to time's going to pass regardless. The landlord is eventually going to get to a point where he's like, all right, I'm moving in, I'm coming in, whether you guys are out or not. And I think you'll get to a place where you've got everything out of there. My concern is just you guys finding a new spot with the way that you talk about. I mean, you're talking about rental prices that are, equivalent to our mortgage. And I don't know how you guys do that.
Yeah. But
I mean, you'll eventually you'll get somewhere. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to convince myself while also convincing you. But yeah, I do think you guys work well together. I think even the conflict that you have between you is like it ends up being super constructive. You just gotta figure out like how much can you get done each day, and then when you're past it, you'll be able to look back, and that's when you'll actually be able to appreciate what happened. You can't appreciate it while you're in the middle of the bullshit.
True. And I hope you're right. One day I can look back and say, wow. So I'm glad I do these streams, like a home video. Look back, wow, remember? Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah, look back and say, oh, man, remember what the hell that was?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I've had the same kind of feeling with a lot of I've gone back and looked at, stuff from a year ago or so when we were still back in Texas. And little did I know, like, the complete upheaval that was going to come months later. Like, it's a very weird sensation but I don't know. I don't know what the magic word is because I have trouble on days of my, like, there will be days when it's like I've got all sorts of things I need to get done in the office and I just can't get it done. It's like I know, okay, well, I've got to have this done by 3 days from now. It would be nice to have it done today, but I'm just not going to do it today because I don't want to sit down and devote mental energy to this thing. So moving has a way of really kicking your ass and making you get things done. So I'll leave you be. I'm gonna go up, and it's actually kind of.
Oh no, I got one last question.
Yeah,
not
go ahead,
now,
go ahead.
but you've shown us your yard. Have you actually gone into the house, or is that not allowed? You don't have to do it now, but are you allowed to stream inside, or you got to keep it in the yard?
No, I can show the house real quick. We'll.
I'm just curious what we want to see with this nice new places you've been going on about, and then you can say goodnight. Yeah,
it's gonna be kind of dark, but you can get a general sense of.
Is this house bigger, smaller, same size as your old home in Texas?
It is technically about 100 square feet more, 150 more, roughly. I'll show you. Okay, here's the deal. Tune in whenever we do, because I did one of these earlier today, and I was walking through the house. If you want to go back, I probably have to unprivate it, but if you go back through, I went upstairs and I showed like the loft and everything like that. It'd be hard to do that now with my kid being asleep.
No, I understand. I'd like to see that. I'm private. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll unprivate it, and we'll do more of them from back in the patio because when we get home at night, sometimes we like to hang out here. So yeah, we're good. We've it was definitely a day. I apologize for the attitude, and we'll get back to it tomorrow, man.
That sounds good. Yes, you were a bit of an ogre, but it's okay. All is forgiven
right.
now.
Yes. Hey, I'm allowed to be an ogre every now and then. I'm the resident normie, so I gotta Hulk out every now and then.
I suppose so, but I mean, as a normie, I think more is expected of you from the audience, at least, because
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You tamp it down until you can't take it anymore, and then it's like fuck everybody, right?
I guess so. So we got to be careful that, like you said, the Hulk normie rage. Okay.
Exactly. You wouldn't like me when I've had a full work day. So I'm just kidding. All right, man. Well, have a good night, and we'll talk later. All right.
Thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you for joining me, Horse. I should probably get off now. Almost done with my beer. But that was nice, wasn't it? That was nice. Yeah, I should get off. So it actually went longer than I expected, but it was good to talk to HorseHead. Any last thoughts? Anyone want to share or say anything? Or I don't know. Have we reached the end? Is it time to say goodnight?